All right, so like we'll bleep out the name. Recording? We'll bleep out the name. We are recording, so bleep out the name because we don't. There's a cheater amongst us.
I was already the cheater in our midst.
I was already. Have you cheated, or you just suck so bad you can't even cheat?
I don't. If I cheat, I'm kicking my ball out of the bushes and acting like that didn't happen. The way that we're talking about this cheater, who's been talked about on the pod before, he's so good, he cheats to make himself seem worse.
Yes.
That's pretty wild.
Yes. Yeah, because of gambling.
I'm doing the old Trump, that's a gimme.
Yeah. It's gambling and it's competition. So like at the country clubs, there's these big tournaments that are like member guests where you get invited to, and it's fun to get invited and it's drinks and a good time. If you are, if you can come in and say you're a 6 handicap and play like you're a 3 handicap, people love you. You get invited, you're like a hero, you win prizes, people do it. So that's what happens.
So we have Greg Goodfried on. He was on the pod exactly a year ago. President of Damelio Corp or Inc.
Sure. Yeah.
And good friend, see him around, and we wanted to, catch up from the year that was. But I think the interesting thing, we were just talking about this, and I won't share the stories, but the power of celebrity is so nuts.
Yep.
And Drama experienced it firsthand, but we're talking about like what's happening globally with celebrities, like specifically Neymar and Cristiano Ronaldo are now like in Saudi Arabia, getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and posting. I think yesterday was Saudi Day.
Yeah, they both
National
posted.
Day.
So Ronaldo posted a picture in the garb, and then Neymar did as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we're like 2 seasons away of Balenciaga just making the outfit, and everyone we're just rocking.
I know it's something we were supposed to talk about like kind of further on in the pod, but MBS did a interview with the Fox News reporter Brett Baer, and he basically said like, I'm definitely sports washing. And
explain what sports watching means.
Meaning like I'm paying Neymar, I'm paying Ronaldo,
and
golf just to make Saudi look better.
Yeah.
That's sports washing, right? Like to sports wash killing American journalists.
If you have a political issue going on, but you go and use sports as a means of like, we're a great country.
Right.
Tell a narrative.
And America only cares about sports.
But his point,
the world does.
But his point was, if I can raise Saudi Arabia's GDP by 1%, it was all worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds really crass, but every leadership of every country thinks like this.
Yeah.
He just said it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He says what he wants. He has no real buddy to answer to.
No one to answer to.
He's able to do whatever he wants.
The cousins and
and it's again not any political thing, but like they seem to be doing a lot of hard work over the last few years on like opening up and having more industry, and they have to because they obviously transitioning from oil and all that kind of stuff. But it's the story of Saudi Arabia in the next 10 years is going to be fascinating with all the things they're building and the sports and the entertainment.
Have you guys gotten the call?
We get lots of calls from
We get calls from fine people from both sides.
For sure. Yeah. And it's interesting. I mean, lots of people are going over there and lots of people are doing it. And I went to an event. There was at the Milken conference. There was an event at some house where like the Saudis host an event, and they had all the different kind of ministers from the different organizations. It was cool. And they had like table where you would sit at this one table and there's somebody in charge of tourism and one in charge of healthcare. They were all, educated. They're all brilliant. They were educated at the best schools. And I sat down at each table, and the person from the Saudi contingency would be like, we know our faults. So ask us anything you want. You want to ask us about women's rights. You want to ask us about driving. You want to ask us about journalists. Ask us. And this was, the younger new generation of leaders over there. And I did walk away from it being like, super intelligent people, super self-aware of the perception of what people think.
Self-awareness is big because in China, they would never, like I work with so many people in China and I've spent so much time there. They will never, ever accept a fault in anything they do. Like they're never saying they're weak in any way. So
I expected that behavior. I totally walked in on eggshells where I was like, don't say something stupid to offend someone, right? I just don't want to offend anybody at a party. And they were so aggressive with like, tell us what you think about us and then let us talk to you about that we agree and what we're doing to change. I was like, well, that's a fascinating situation.
Interesting approach. Hard to Like even when you just said the same thing about MBS on Fox, I was thinking like, obviously I saw the clips from that. And like, even though I don't agree, obviously with some of their practices, it's hard to criticize when you own it. So
yeah, it's like the Eminem 8 Mile.
yeah,
you just say like, this is what we do.
Yeah, it's hard to be like,
well, stuff out first. And just totally disarm the entire conversation.
Yeah.
Because we all have black marks, right? Like, I mean, 100. American, like no one wants to talk about the drone expansion. That's really bad. Yeah. We drone hospitals and kill innocent people.
I mean, we have endless. We
did shit to our own people for hundreds of years. Like, it's definitely, we are
Purdue
not...
Pharma, right? Like, we did that to our own people within our own borders.
Yes, correct. So it's all, stuff is complicated. That is for sure.
But it's also funny because I feel like another thing we do kind of wrong is, and take this lightly with how I say wrong, but is like, it seems like we spend a lot of time apologizing and not like moving forward.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of feeling in America of like, oh gosh, we're so sorry. We messed this up. We did this wrong. We were wrong to that group. We were wrong to that group. As opposed to like, okay, but the way out of that is going to be
actual change,
success, expansion, more opportunity. Not like, it almost feels like we're in this, like we're so mad at ourselves for everyone that we've wronged over the years that's all we.
I think it's very simple. It's status quo benefits certain groups of people. And so it's easier just to apologize and kick the can down the road. So, like I'll give you an example. I think what's happening in Ukraine is a very interesting test to see. So in previous eras, like, you would see the 60 minutes. So 60 minutes tonight will air basically where American money is going in Ukraine.
And they had a bunch of senators that are pretending that they know where the missiles, like there's no journal.
Yeah.
They're pretending.
There's no ledger. Yeah.
They're pretending they know where the money is.
Imagine how COVID was. Remember when we talked about COVID funds and where it all went? That we don't know, but it went to a lot of... I know where
it went.
Yeah.
Louis Vuitton, Dior, Balenciaga, AP, Rolex.
Drama's point, I think what you're trying to make, correct me if I'm wrong, is basically like, we couldn't even audit within our own country.
Right.
How can we audit what's going on in Ukraine?
Yes, and I'm also talking about even what we technically could kind of audit, which is all the shit that was packed into those relief bills.
Oh, yeah.
That just went to shenanigans and went to people who were... It's about who had the best relationships politically. Yeah. And people made a shit ton of money off of that. Like, here's some stuff to fund your thing.
Yeah, whatever you're
doing, whatever. And so with Ukraine, I'm guessing it's more, this is just my perception, I know nothing about it, but it's more of just like, even closer to like a blank check.
Totally.
Like, here's
Zelensky's
the money.
Got a beautiful villa he's building in Egypt.
Yeah, there's a $5 million luxury villa that apparently Zelensky. No, it's been reported. This is no like
that he's building
that he bought, and they're denying it, and they're saying that he bought this $5 million luxury villa.
He was like, no, it was $20 million. He's like, I can't live in a $5 million.
Doesn't that feels
so like,
unbelievable?
I know you weren't on the last couple of pods, but when we're in Mykonos, we're like joking about,
You're going to see
where
Zelensky.
The money is, right?
You're going to see him at the table.
And Scorpios.
And our Mykonos chat is still going. And after he requested the $24 billion, they're like, how much bigger of a yacht does he need?
Yeah.
And the thing is like, so 60 Minutes is going to air tonight. And it's basically showing that like funds are going to small businesses, funds are being misappropriated, all of those things. In previous times, I remember watching when they were talking about the Iraq War and everyone knew the money was pillaged. And fast forward, this is so like blatant now. Everyone is aware. Like nobody thinks like that it's it's a joke at this point.
Well, I wouldn't say nobody. There's still a lot of people, and we live in LA. There's still a lot of people with Ukraine flags flying proud.
I mean, the New York Jets were wearing. I'm not saying you can't support the people of Ukraine.
Me neither. But I'm saying I don't think you're looking at it, I think, a little too optimistically. I think there are still people that think, yes, give them more money. That money is to fight Russia. Putin is evil. That's where that money's going. Give them more.
No, it went to a villa.
And I think there's people who trust the government and who just think like,
I think if you interview,
they're doing a good job and they're a collective of people who represent doing their best.
Yes.
And
it's and they're doing the right thing. I think if you interviewed everyone with a Ukraine flag for the next week that you saw on their car, on their whatever, and you said the word villa, I don't think it resonates. I think the majority of those people still think, yes,
I think 10 years ago.
Don't you think we've had enough distrust in institutions that people have kind of awakened that?
I think there's a group.
There's a group that blindly trusts.
Because like I laugh when I see these like
24
billion. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, you need to be in Verbeer, or I can't even pronounce it. It's the Swiss Alps. Like
I don't even know it exists.
And the difference of writing on a piece of paper 23 billion versus 24 billion is like, it takes them 4 seconds to do. Yeah. It's $1 billion and like going nowhere into the ether.
Yeah, and we have no audit of it. We don't have an audit of our own internal U.S. defense budget.
Well, that's on purpose.
If it's on purpose, that's fine. But why would we just blindly write checks?
I just think it's because
your boy Hunter Biden.
I think it's because it's
Hunter. What were all those videotapes and phone calls?
Here's the only good news. I think that this is the way that we've always done it. I think now, just with social media and
we're
the way
just aware.
Yeah,
I agree. That's what my point is.
Sure.
So, do you think, to your point about, we always just apologize? Like, this is what's going to happen 4 years from now. There'll be a Senate hearing. Hey, were the funds in Ukraine misappropriated? Yes.
Oh, there'll be a hot movie on Netflix.
There'll be a movie. It'll be like a War Dogs thing. There's like the 2 young guys that are just Americans that have made all the money.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
And living in Mykonos.
Yeah.
Friends with Anand.
That's what's happening.
But like, I think the thing that I'm just shocked at is that there's way more people that are aware. Like, if you're listening to this podcast, like if you believe the money is going directly.
No. So majority of money is, but there's probably 20-30% of like just complete fraud.
I don't know.
That's like $7.5 billion in the last month. Then
it's probably 30 billion, right? It's 124
I don't even know.
billion.
I would say the majority. We don't know, but I'm just saying. But I think if you took like bullshit and then skimmed off the top and then used for this and then used for that,
it's $1 billion.
I'm curious what the actual.
So
they've gotten 100
I think
million.
we did 100 million leading up to this 24. This 24 is going to get approved. So 124, 30 billion's gone.
But the game's
way more.
But the game's incentives.
30
you know what? You can buy guns and shit for $100 billion.
I think it's more.
40 billion, 50 billion.
No, I think 80 billion.
No, 80 is pretty.
How much do you think like one of these tanks are? Even if you got ripped off.
No, but
also
you're already getting ripped off. You're already getting screwed.
I'm also curious, like how much of, because who else is getting?
They're running out of ammunition.
But who has incentive?
Come on.
To your point, assume everybody knows. Who has any incentive to stop it? Because
everyone's taking money.
Everyone's the people. Yeah. So many people are making money,
just
and the people,
taxpayers.
but the people are getting hurt. Is like, are my taxes are they gonna change?
But even if we
solve this, are they gonna change my taxes?
No, the taxpayers like, hey, I'm still paying my tax rate.
And who wants to jump?
I think the key thing to take away is how
we should all be doing government contracts.
Money off this?
Why are you selling clothes to people?
We're talking about Saudi Arabia and the U.S.
Greg's the link to Saudi, so include us.
When you meet one of those ministers, tell them, what do you guys think about excess inventory?
I'll take you.
What do you think about group chat? Do you want a nice, entertaining podcast?
You could control.
Huge sponsorship. We're gonna live golf.
Yeah, and by the way, I will never say a bad thing about anybody. Like,
I'll be wearing all halal jerseys all next year.
D can be muzzled very, very cheaply.
It's like $50K, bro. I'll just keep my mouth shut.
We don't even import. Give me a break. We're good.
You're already there. You're halfway there.
But let's like kind of build on what we're talking about. I watched Dumb Money over the weekend.
Oh, is that in theaters?
So this is how stupid Hollywood is. They weren't allowed to market it because of the strike.
Yep.
And it's in theaters.
It's already out.
It's out in theaters.
Well, so, the celebrities can't, the actors in the show cannot go on and do anything.
Wow,
they can't go
just
on,
right now, I just got a WGA writers just ended the strike.
Agreed.
Okay,
yeah, I felt end of the weekend.
I'm happy, but how stupid are you as Hollywood? Who wins by not being able to market this? Like one of the biggest stories of 2021.
Completely insane.
Yeah,
that they weren't able to market it. So our friend Mikey texted us in our group chat like, "Hey, Dumb Money's out," and I am like the movie junkie.
Yeah.
Like I go to every movie.
And that's right up our alley.
Yeah.
And at 7 p.m., I was like, what? This movie's out? And I just literally looked and I found like a 7:45 showing.
But it was only in LA though, right? It was early.
Well, in LA. But the fact that I didn't even know that it was out is so stupid by Hollywood. Like who wins? The studio, the actors,
it was
the writers?
being advertised on CNBC all week.
Was it good?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Nice. Okay,
The
great.
movie was fantastic.
Awesome.
Who's is it?
So
who's
Seth
actors?
Rogen's
Rogen, yeah.
in it. He plays the Melvin Capital guy.
Okay.
There's a Ken Griffin actor, and then there's all like the Reddit people.
Yeah.
And what's so shocking to me is we podcasted about this real time when this was all happening. And I forgot like how criminal it was that the trading stopped.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I read a book.
Robinhood shut the trading down?
Yeah, Robinhood shut the trading down.
Wow.
And then like
that.
I kind
and
of know
their
the
investors
insights
were the fucking Citadel, whoever these people
exactly.
were.
Yes,
So like I've heard the inside story about this that they ran out of liquidity and blah blah blah, but like I don't believe it at all now that we have the distrust of institutions.
Remember Vlad getting on like live streams and shit and just getting smoked?
Yeah.
And Portnoy was the only one. Portnoy's like they showed the clip like Vlad needs to be in jail.
Yeah. That was in the movie?
In the movie. They have all the CNBC clips in the movie.
Wow.
Cool.
The movie's fantastic.
Yeah, it's funny when you get some distance from it to like see how it
the distance really mattered because I actually just forgot how bad that really was.
Yeah.
And how many people got fucking screwed and like how we talked about how the Retail Joe, like we made fun of Retail Joe after, like, of course you're always going to lose. But they lost because they changed the game.
Yeah.
But that happens every day.
Which is why Retail Joe is always going to lose.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
but my point is they had a shot.
Yeah, for sure.
They had a shot.
That was fake, a fake shot.
And you know what's even more
I remember when you were talking about it, transformational. I'm like,
but it was.
It could have been.
They just turned the trade off.
Right.
Yeah.
The rules just became a new set of rules.
Yeah.
It also just reiterated though that they'll never lose.
Yeah.
They'll never
it was
lose.
just like, oh, you almost, you found a little loophole.
But you know what is more disconcerting is Ken Griffin, who obviously is the villain in this whole saga because he's getting the trades and then he shut the trading down.
Yeah.
And, you can get every investor will tell me, oh, they just need liquidity, but I don't buy any of that. They were told to stop the trading.
Yeah.
I like 100% believe that.
Yeah.
He has mocked the Redditors in the last 12 months saying like, oh, they're the greatest lead gen.
Yeah.
Like he said like, oh yeah, he said this publicly.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I fucking shut you down and now I'm going to mock you 2 years later.
Yeah, well, because I think he got dragged to the mud.
Yeah.
And then he bought the Constitution. That was like a big first fuck you. I'm just going to buy the rights to America. And then he's just going to dunk on you.
But
and
not
do
only that,
victory
there
laps.
was the Constitution NFT or whatever.
And then the last
actual, that's what I'm saying. It was.
Didn't he beat them?
Yes.
Yeah,
he
he
did.
beat them.
The Dow. The
no, but
Constitution
like so
Dow.
the movie ends with like, I mean, there's no, spoiler because we all know what happens.
Yep.
What happened?
Like, no, the SEC.
Ken Griffin's rich, they're broke.
Pretty much.
I've seen the
Money was indeed dumb.
He won.
No, but the SEC had like a lawsuit against them, and they wanted to like redeem the text messages or whatever, and everything got shut down.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Citadel paid a fine the other day, $7 million. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's an intern makes $7 million.
Yeah, they're
million.
paying interns $20,000 a month right now.
Yeah.
College kids, $7 million.
$7 million?
I even saw the game is so rigged. One of the lead stories today on Wall Street Journal was this hedge fund basically bet on, so every time a merger gets announced in America.
Oh, the Lena Khan.
Yes.
I saw this.
So it's basically
good.
Microsoft and Activision Blizzard. That was like the big acquisition of last year. And Lena Khan, who's the head of the FTC, wanted to block it because thought it was, for monopolistic purposes. And he basically thinks she's incompetent and won't be able to get anything done.
Uh-huh.
So all of these stock prices basically never reached its full value. Yeah. So there was like a spread trade that you could have made.
So just to explain it, basically like if company X is getting bought for $45, right? And their company is trading at $35, there's a $10 spread. And the merge are bettors are basically like, we think the trade's going to get done at 45, but the stock never trades up to 45
because it's a risk.
It'll trade up to like 42, and you have that $3 spread you can make money on. Because you're like, I think regulation's going to happen. So what you're saying is they thought regulation was going to basically not happen, and you'd get to 45. So you'd make that $3 spread.
So basically, she hasn't been able to block any merger. So let's get back.
Crazy.
It's just crazy how, like, basically Wall Street in particular really takes advantage of the incompetence of companies, governments, everything. Because, like, you know, everyone on Wall Street is basically betting on interest rates right now. And so they have their hypothesis of when it's going to continue going up, when it's going to cut, and they keep betting. But like people like Citadel and these hedge funds that have 30, 50, 100, BlackRock, $5 trillion of management, $9 trillion. They can literally just
don't forget the 4.
Yeah, they can literally do whatever the fuck they want. All the time.
But I also think this concept of these industries that have private sector and government, like going back to the government contracts. Like when you have private sector and government, it seems like that's where all the bad stuff happens. And then all of a sudden the government people, when they fucking retire, go work for the private sector people and become multi-millionaires. So I think
that's my impetus to go into politics.
I was about to say, so my 14-year-old is going to do something in the hybrid of government and private sector. And he's going to buy this whole building. And we're all schmoes.
I mean, we just named it between private sector and government, Saudi, or military industrial complex. We just covered. We're a business podcast.
Pharma.
That's it.
And pharma. Somebody mentioned Purdue. Like those are the pharma, military, finance. Kind of the things where like you got a bunch of regulators and a bunch of animals, you know, private sector people, and they all just.
But think about it. For the first time in history, the pharmaceutical industry was essentially treated like the military industrial complex during COVID. I mean, think about how hyped they were. They were like, oh my God, you're telling me they're going to fucking make everyone do this?
You're going to make everyone. By you're going to pay us
have to buy it all.
Pop for it too.
And how many were thrown away? Like just fucking.
You're right. It was like the military. It's like buy all the ammo and then next year buy all the ammo again, even if you don't use the ammo last year.
And they're like,
there's an Axios article that released yesterday that the Biden administration is issuing $600 million of COVID tests.
Totally.
For at home. Who's on the take?
You that's your guy. So
they still have
how many tests are you ordering? Jackass.
I don't test. I don't test. I don't test.
You don't think so? Like that to me,
$600 million. Who's making the money? Why can't I get that contract?
You're in the wrong industry.
Well, is your name Hunter Biden? You can get one too. Guarantee you, Hunter has Hunter's test.
Oh yeah. Hunter's in that deal somewhere.
He's making 60, 70 million. Hunter
$600 million of at-home COVID tests.
And that's just this year. I mean, they might do that again.
That's yesterday.
It'd be good merch.
It's not this year.
Yeah, they might do that again. That could be the first wave. That could be this year's, artillery.
Yeah.
God.
Stored in a warehouse. They're not going to use. I mean, how many do
COVID tests? We're still talking about COVID tests, and this guy's giving out $600 million.
Yeah,
this is. And then, by the way, your boy Sleepy, your guy, fucking posted today or yesterday that he is very mad about all of the fees in concert tickets.
I saw that.
I was like, SMD.
How is that on the docket?
Yes. I mean, can you read the room? I know he's not writing those tweets.
Yeah.
Who wrote that for him?
Well, that one lady got caught.
Well, because there's a lot of concerts this summer.
I was about to say, it is what is important to people. Like, people do like concerts.
I mean, think how many concerts there were this summer. There were a lot of concerts.
And there's a lot of fees.
It was crazy. But I'm just saying, I mean, like, look, if it clearly has zero impact on the consumer. If for some reason the consumer thought the fees were unfair, they would not buy the fucking tickets.
They're a little. I disagree with that. I think that people love concerts, and I think that if they would, who's going to go protest in the streets? I'm not going to Taylor. They're going to pay the extra $30 fee.
No, but not only Taylor. They also will go to Metallica and Ed Sheeran.
No, everyone's going to everything.
Sheeran had 83,000 last night.
I saw he was amazing. I think they feel like they're being held hostage, but I didn't go. I would have loved to go. But I think people do feel like they're being held hostage, and not to get into the thing. I do think the fees are insane. Like if you have.
No, I agree.
They just do it by a percentage. I saw a listing the other day for a ticket to something that was like $85,000. It was like some completely insane thing. And the fee on it was like $12,000.
Yeah.
But that transaction for Ticketmaster to sell that ticket and get that thing is the same as a $90 ticket. So crazy.
Yeah. I agree with it. I just don't know if that is the most pressing thing as the president of the United States.
List number 700 on the list.
I think we should probably audit the $24 billion that we're sending.
You know what? Let's just assume like we're never going to touch Ukraine. I just want to audit the $600 million in COVID tests.
Yeah.
I want to follow that train
COVID test,
badly.
How can we? Can we?
I think
public citizens.
I think we should just hire a team, fucking full time, trace that $600 million.
It's not national security. They should let people have that information. Who cares? But they're all criminals.
But also, they probably know how to bury it so well.
No, because this was like a famous story when COVID started, and you need to book your shot.
Yeah.
Accenture in California got paid $100 million for that website.
I think more.
Maybe 200 million.
Yeah,
to book your shot.
Like an intern at any.
How much?
By the way, you can do it on Calendly.
How much should the Young and Reckless website cost to be? I won $200 million.
I'll give you one clue. It wasn't $100 million,
and it was a great website.
So Accenture got paid, let's call it $100 to $200 million to make a site that any intern at any company in America could make.
Yeah. They could have given it to Google. They would have just done it for free. Like
Google would have done it for free.
But this is what kills me. Is back to like, maybe they're the same, maybe
that's
they're
just
not.
California. There's 49 other states.
But the thing that kills me is this conversation is not the popular conversation. The popular conversation is tax rich people.
Yeah.
That's the answer.
That's Anand's crew, the woke.
Yeah.
Wokey woke.
No, the blend of how we spend it should definitely be at least equal to
equal.
I agree with
That's
you.
all I ask, but it's not even close to equal.
It's absurd. There's this blind trust on one side of government is good.
I'd rather
just like give them more money. We should be giving Ukraine double.
I'd rather say here's the budget. Our budget is $2 trillion. $400 billion has to go to fraud. And
that's fine.
And by the way, everyone gets to participate. You know, this week everyone gets Coachella tickets. Next week everyone gets Taylor Swift, and it's just like. But as long as everyone gets a little bit of the fraud, you know, it's like everyone has like their budget in their household. They're like, you could do whatever you want with this.
Yeah.
America, 20-30% goes to fraud, and everyone gets to participate in it.
Take it. That's it. But then keep it at that.
If we all got to participate, even the littlest, like, you know what? Friday nights in America, you can go to dinner anywhere and it's paid for. If you just did that, which will cost maybe a few $1 billion.
You had Fraud Fridays once a month. People would be so pumped.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think just let us get our beak wet with a little bit of the fraud money.
Everyone wants a taste.
When I go to dinner on Friday night with my kids, I'm like, you know what? Hey, sir. You know, today is Fraud Fridays. You and your family
This is brilliant to Sleepy. Sleepy's got this.
Yes. And then you wouldn't care at all about Hunter Biden because you'd be like, yeah, whatever. I'm in on it.
I'm part of it.
Give it to him. I don't give a shit. COVID test. Give it to him.
Zelensky like Fraud Fridays in fucking Greece. Thank you, U.S.
I think the annual budget's $2.8 trillion. So
wow.
4 billion, 10 billion?
No, I'm saying 500 billion.
400 billion? Okay.
I mean, we all want free dinner on Fridays.
10% of 2.8 trillion is 280 billion.
So then we're talking 4%.
Okay,
crazy amount of money. Yeah,
1%.
Exactly.
280 billion.
You can buy dinner everyone.
Simple math.
For everyone.
There's 400 million Americans, right? Something like that?
Around that.
Okay.
So adults probably 200.
Okay.
What?
200 million adults.
200 million adults. Okay. If you said the 200 million, let's say, how much do you think if you gave on Fraud Fridays every Friday?
$100 a couple.
No, $100 a household.
$20 a person.
$20 a person.
Just to keep the math reasonable.
So that's what, $8 billion?
800. So that's $800 billion.
No, it's $8 billion a week.
Sorry.
8 billion
800 million.
Yeah.
400 million people.
Yeah. Times 20.
Times 20 is, yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
So $8 billion a week. That's $400 billion.
Fine.
If you give us that
free dinner,
then send as much.
Do whatever you want.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
I don't think anyone would give a fuck about anything.
No, the problem is we don't get to participate.
Correct. Your philosophy is people just don't want to feel like they're getting screwed.
Yes.
So if you let them into the fucking con, they're okay.
The problem is we see like raise taxes, hire all these new IRS agents.
Yeah.
But you know, the
blah,
problem
blah,
is
blah.
like Powell and them get mad at the stimulus. Why are you mad at the stimulus?
Because it caused inflation.
Because that's like everyone's so mad. All the Republicans are mad at the stimulus. Like, oh, they got so much money.
Like, hey, that's where's our we do the stimulus.
So
not them.
Well, they just don't like people having money.
Yeah, they're like they pay us.
Yeah,
we get the stimulus.
You know what the difference in Saudi Arabia and the Middle East and in particularly China, which are these like hyper developed countries with very smart people in both regions. Those countries really take care of their citizens. Like in the Middle East, free education, free everything, right? And healthcare, things like that. Similar in China, like so much of the Chinese government has subsidized businesses and insurance and healthcare. And so like the national pride in these countries are insane.
Yeah.
Like you go to the Middle East, they're not talking down about the Middle East. You go to China, they're not talking down about it.
Scandinavian countries are the same thing.
Exactly.
They
They have such
cradle
pride.
to grave, like social care, and they're great.
In Dubai, if you're an Emirati, which there's very few Emiratis, like actually born and raised there, not like you go to Dubai and you're at the Four Seasons. Those aren't Emiratis.
Not the Russian girls on Instagram.
Wait a minute. I've seen it on Instagram bios.
The Emiratas.
No, Emiratis are very different than Emiratis.
Oh my God.
No, but
sounds similar, very different.
But the moment you get married and you have children, you get a house.
Yeah, you're taken care of.
You're done.
That's part of
like the social contract. If you're an actual local Emirati.
Maybe I should go have a kid there.
No, but you're not Emirati. You can't have it.
But my kid could have that.
No, he can't.
What if he married?
It's literally the people from
No, what if he married a single Emirati girl? Can you marry an Emirati and then become an Emirati?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're going to have to figure this out.
Some research.
Yeah.
Emirati will get a house. Emirati's getting a mansion. Let's be clear.
She could for sure.
Emirati's not getting a house. She's getting a mansion.
She's a made person.
Yeah. It's very strange. That's why it feels to me, and I think it's way far off, and I think we're still obviously like the biggest country and all those things, but it just feels like
I think
it feels like we got too big. We got too like it got too fucked up. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's the end of an empire and we're over in 10 years.
Did you listen to Ray Dalio?
Is he on that?
On the
right
he's
now?
always on that. He thinks
he's been on that for a long time.
We're done.
That's
So
fine.
like for me, if I was sleepy, I'd ban Ray Dalio. Get him out of this country.
Yeah.
Keep talking about our downfall. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not saying that.
China seems to be struggling right now too. So
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Are you
if
getting
China,
more calls from the Middle East or China for your business?
Got to be Middle East.
We don't get China. We haven't gotten calls from China.
Wow, really?
I don't know the industry over there in terms of like entertainment and Western. I don't think they love Western content a lot.
Outside of Middle East and China, where would you get calls from?
I mean, not foreign.
Yeah.
I mean, like we just did something in Japan, so Tokyo and is a great region. South Korea's Latin America like loves the TikTokers and like the social media stuff. So I'd say Latin America and Europe isn't massive. The only thing we go to Europe for is like the fashion week stuff. All the fashion brands are like, cool and love to have us over there, but they're not like we have campaigns for different things that's big.
I feel like that's where you go with your own money.
Yeah, exactly.
When you're rich.
We love hanging out there. Yeah,
we know you want to be here.
Yeah, we know you're coming here anyway.
I'll say Monaco for the Grand Prix.
Good place to be. Right?
They took good care of us. So those are good.
Shout out to the Prince.
Yes, yeah. The Grimaldis.
You've had a great Instagram story for the last 2 years.
It's been a good run. It was a great decision not to be at UTA.
You know what's funny, Greg? You know what's funny is, and she might still be with you guys, but when we first connected with Charlie and the group at Young and Reckless, it was through like a woman who did like a thing in their local, like they're from Connecticut or something.
Yeah.
She did like a local like meetup for like content creators.
Yep.
And it was just this woman that came to the office and she's like, hi, I represent Charlie. And it was right as Charlie like became really big.
Yep.
And it was like, just like I said, this woman who did this local meetup for like TikTokers in Connecticut.
It's very smart.
And to see the jump where you've taken it. It's amazing.
It's been a wild ride. That's for sure.
It's kind of wild because like specifically on TikTok, this whole thing happened so fast. Mm-hmm. And I think Instagram stars became big, but the TikTok stars have become like actual businesses.
For sure.
Versus like the early Instagram people that were really popular, they still remain to be popular, but like They haven't monetized it like TikTok. This is bananas.
Instagram's
Shout out to China.
One. Yeah, thank you. Fantastic.
It's funny that China made you guys, but they won't get you business there.
Yeah, I just think that I just don't think they're. I've been to. Have you guys all been to China?
Yeah.
Like it just.
He has. I haven't.
I've been and I went, and it's like their craving for Western culture stuff is not the same. From what I can tell. And it's a complex system.
They haven't really seen it either.
I'm surprised they don't call and say like, "Hey, can we get a Chinese flag in the house over at the Damelio?"
The new Hulu show. Make sure you drop a flag.
No, but I'm actually curious because actually, Javier's are younger, like kind of ear to the streets, and like the Damelios have actually elevated to the top. And a lot of the other people just have fizzled.
I agree.
And I like
they have
people
great fucking management.
I was literally gonna say they don't have great. It really is the difference.
No, it is the difference. It is the difference.
Because all these people like during 2020 and 21, because like we're all locked down.
Yep.
I was on TikTok following all these people, watching the dances, and like they're one of the few people that have.
I think
let me tell you
good
this.
moves.
This is what I learned.
I think it's helpful.
Sorry, go.
No.
Okay, not to speak for Greg, but like we've worked with a million rappers, celebrities, whatever. Yeah. You see the difference of what it's like to work with people who never graduate past the homies, being their manager, and then talking to someone like him. Like it's a total difference. And I think there's this crucial point where you have to switch to legitimate representation and build a business. And if you don't, you just get stuck in like,
Well, I mean, just look at our good friend Anthony, Future, Nas, Kendrick, like all these people. Like,
I mean, he managed Nas. I mean, Nas is like one of the few legacy rappers that still.
There's only two. It's only Jay-Z
and Jay-Z.
Royalty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's. I think what I would say is a couple things. One is you get so much stuff thrown at you when you have that moment, right? So when you're one of these 50 TikTokers who had that moment, you get so much stuff thrown at you.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is what you say no to. It's not what you say yes to. Like a couple things might be difference makers, but you can really like take your shit down the drain.
Yeah.
And crypto and NFTs was like a interesting moment for us where like you could have woken up one day and been like, here's the Charli D'Amelio bank. Here's the Charli D'Amelio healthcare thing. Like people had the craziest ideas I'd ever heard of using blockchain technology to launch a business. And I'm like, this is all insane. There's not a single consumer out there in the world who would do this. And we said no to everything. We said no to every metaverse thing. We said no. And like all those things are like take a knock on your credibility and knock on who you are. And so I think there's lots of these young people. And then on the flip side, when you say yes to something, because you have to say yes to things like how do you perform? Do you show up? Are you professional? Do you make the people want to work with you again? Do you give it 100%? And a lot of these influencers or young people will just be like, I'm the famous one. I got the big following. Fuck this ad executive, whatever. And I'm like, you're not getting the next phone call if you act like that. So
I think so many people
professionalism helps.
Like treat it like it's kind of magic.
Yeah.
Like, they just had it. It's really like, as we know, when you look behind the scenes, it's the Gregs or not having the Gregs. And there's so many people that...
And I think the talent also has to be willing to listen and be mature.
100%. But I'm saying, I think there was probably so many people in that first wave of TikTok that were incredibly talented and could have been on the Damelio level that just didn't have that infrastructure component.
We would see decisions. And I had the interesting seat of being at UTA as their agent for the first 6 months and then leaving and doing that. But in that 6 months, you would see everybody. And I would be like, wow, I can't believe they're working with that. I know what that deal was because we got that offer. I cannot believe they took that deal. For the next 6 months, they're going to be posting every other day this horrendous fucking thing. And you would see. So it's the credit the Nas's and the Jay-Z's and the people who become the superstars, they internally are truly amazing. But yes, having people who you can trust to navigate it is critical.
Can I ask you a question? Was there a learning curve for the Damelios? Like going from, I would guess like no responsibility, being just young girls, to now all of a sudden, like you do have these really serious things to show up for and to be on time and to treat people a certain way. Like, was there like a time, did you have to kind of like, hey guys, this is why this is important. This is why we need to like, was that a thing?
Yes. So I'd say, I'll say yes. And kind of a follow up to that. So for sure in the beginning, the girls, should have been one of them should have been in college. One of them should have been in high school. And so the concept of like, I should be with my friends. I don't know if I want to do this. They also have had literally zero concept of money. So, somebody's saying to them like, hey, this opportunity here is worth $200,000, but you're never going to see it. It's going to go into a bank and whatever. Or if somebody came up to them, I was like, I have $10,000 in cash. Will you do this thing? Like, they were kids. So they're like, yes, of course I would do it.
Cash too.
Everyone likes cash.
That's a common tactic in the marketing world.
For sure. Like rappers, they get like literally get bags.
We've taken advantage of that.
Yes. And it is fascinating. So the learning curve was very challenging for them to understand, showing up, doing the work, whatnot. The way they did it, the learning curve was lightning fast for them as mom and dad. They had parents who were
the parents helped.
You guys know Mark. Mark is a professional and he's an adult and but comes from the sales side. So Mark would work the floor at Magic his entire career in Vegas and had a showroom in Manhattan. Everybody who came in, look in the eyes, handshake, here's a cup of water, here's a thing, please and thank you. And it was cool for me because really early on I was on set with, I think it was Charlie. And it was a big set. There's, 30, 40 people around. We finished the shoot. She went to every single person in that room and said, thank you so much. I appreciate your help. I was like, wow, this makes my life 10 times easier. Mom and dad
parents are so important.
Mom and dad are, And listen, the Hulu show's on right now. There's definitely, this year's about tension. So tension between all of us. I get dragged horribly in one episode. Something between me and Charlie that was unclear and a misunderstanding, but comes across pretty wild.
Yeah.
And... so you look at that and people will watch it and be like, I'm very transparent. People watch it and be like, oh, Mark and Heidi are too involved in the business or making about, and like people could not be more wrong because the other parents who either are lunatics and steal their kids' money and go crazy or do nothing and are just like, oh, my child is now in charge and my child can tell me where to go, what to do. Those are the ones that like become disastrous. But it's hard. They fell into a very hard world for sure.
But they're still, what are their ages
21 and 19. 22
so
and
19. How do you manage that, right? They're like still young kids.
They're young, but they're super mature for their age because of this experience. Every day they become more and more in charge in a great way. And they become more and more, this is what I want to do. This is what I don't want to do. This is what say no to as many things as you want to say. So we try to give them an environment to be the CEO, be the boss, which is a lot of like good information. And there will be those there's moments in time either like I'll stand on the table and say, don't do this, it's terrible, or holy shit, you really have to do this, it's game changing. But like I have very few of those tickets to play. So.
But they're allowed to be kids.
Oh, for sure.
Go do whatever they want and like you guys don't
get girls get an offer to do something that is for hundreds of thousands of dollars every single day. Like I'm not even being sarcastic. Like millions. I mean, if they did every single thing they did, they would make an obscene amount of money and then burn their entire career and like their entire mentality. So we're very good about being like, we actually have schedules. It's like, hey, for these, 4 weeks, you're doing nothing. I don't care if something comes in, it's $1 million for an hour. Like we're not taking that phone call, hang out with your friends, go on a trip, do whatever you want to do. So we carve a lot of personal time for them and then they go to work and do the stuff.
That's crazy.
I think it's a really good way to like, there's so much to learn. Because it's such a hyper like magnified example. Like I would say like anywhere in business or entertainment, how you were raised matters. Your manners matters, but it's like so hyper like magnified when you're talking about, a 16-year-old girl becoming a household name, overnight or like there's so many.
Well, I think I said this line maybe last time on the podcast, but these fame, ultra whatever, does not change who you are, it magnifies who you are.
Yeah.
So if they came into this as horrible pieces of shit, they would be intolerable, right? For me and for everyone. If they came into this as, gracious and kind and all that stuff, like they want to be more and more like that. But the hardest part for sure is they're not, certainly Charlie and Dixie are not motivated by money at all. They came from a nice environment. They weren't ultra wealthy, but they didn't want anything. So they don't think of like, I need money or whatnot. So they're not motivated by it. So when things come up that are like kind of crazy, it's this weird tension between like, do you want to do it? Is it fun? Do you have the time? Or do you want to go hang out with your friends? And I do think in the beginning, we probably made some wrong decisions where we were like sign them up for a few things too often. And it was like, hey, you can do this and then you can get this house and you can do this thing. We've pumped the brakes on that big time. We're like,
what's interesting is
health is more important.
This was an interesting parallel to having a conversation with a couple that Anna knows Friday with our kids. And we're talking about sports and, specifically like if you live in the Valley, like sports is like
so important.
Sports is basically Valley is like a microcosm of Texas.
Yeah.
Where like sports really fucking matter.
Agree.
Right. And, I was talking to some parents on Friday and then today at my kids' school, they're like a dad's day. We're talking about like how intense, kids get into sports at these early ages. And then they go sign up for club soccer, club baseball, and they're doing 15 different things. And like most of these kids burn out, never see their full potential, and they're a wrap. And I was using the example of, I had watched the Serena and Venus
King Richard.
Williams, King Richard, a few months back. And, he was very adamant. The father was like not letting them compete till they're like 12 years old.
Yeah.
Because winning and losing really does affect you as a child. And our friend was telling us that in Norway, they do not like to keep score, count wins and losses till they're 12 years old. And basically at that point, if you're that good of an athlete, they'll give you, the government will, Norway has some disproportionate number of Olympic athletes and gold medals per capita more than any other country. And they believe that introducing that competitive nature at a later stage in life is actually more beneficial. The problem is everyone's doing the counter, which if you were to look at Major League Baseball, professional soccer, which let's say the Valley represents, everyone plays baseball and soccer in the Valley. That's what you do in the Valley. Major League Baseball is historically Valley's been very kind to, MLB has been very kind to Major League Baseball. Today, Major League Baseball is Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Venezuelans, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like we're even seeing the success of it.
Totally.
And then soccer for sure is...
But the intensity you're saying of what parents
aren't helping.
Oh,
yeah. So like I have a handful of like very close friends that played Major League Baseball at the most elite levels. And their kids are now in these various youth programs.
Yep.
And they are disgusted with the way the other parents are taking the intensity aggressive of it. They're like, and these guys made it to the show.
Yeah.
I'm the
and
same.
they're like, dude, these kids are 6, they're 7. Let them play.
Yeah.
Like
I have a few friends who are from my golf club who are like rock star professional athletes. They have the least amount of pressure on their kids, who, by the way, their kids are superstars. Their kids are 4 inches taller and
genes.
10 times faster than any of the other kids.
Yeah.
They are pump the brakes, do nothing. This is what I say. I think this all comes back to, like, we were talking about TikTokers or influencers and athletes. I think there's a lot of parallels. I don't think there's a single super famous TikToker or YouTuber, and I think there's very few super elite level athletes that are there because their parents were in their ear when they were 5 years old, fucking yelling at them and screaming at them, be elite. They had to have it. They had to be the ones. You hear every story of the parents who, when a guy gives an MVP speech or whatever, and they talk to the parents, they're like, I had to go out at 9 o'clock at night and physically pick him up and bring him inside the house because he wanted to practice 3 more hours. And, and I think that's real. I think any parent who sits down and thinks that they're going to, by brute force, guide their children to be elite.
But that even goes the most basic level for intelligence and academics, which is where you make the absolute craziest amount of money. Yeah. And the most successful people on earth did not have parents that drove them to the ground.
But don't you think there's this is what I would love to like read a book on or something, which doesn't exist, is there's got to be a sweet spot.
Yeah, there is.
Because we talk a lot about how also some people are way too soft.
Yeah, so I think the key is that as a parent, what I'm witnessing myself is you have to expose your children to a lot of things.
Okay.
You have to support them in things they're interested in.
With no stakes.
What?
Expose with no stakes.
I'm not even saying there's no stakes, but I think it's just like letting them actually, like, I'm talking even with academics and in sports, which is what we're going through right now, music.
Yeah.
And exposing them, let them actually fall in love with it.
Yeah.
Like, I think my kids are going to fall in love with learning. Yeah. Like, I actually think they're so curious. They want to learn. Like, they're probably how like LeBron was with basketball. Yeah. I think my kids are like that with like the deep ocean.
Yeah.
Like we read books and volcanoes and whatever. Like
that's good.
And
that's
I think like
I want them to fall in love with fucking MMA.
Jiu-jitsu. But I think it's like you have to expose them. as a parent, I think your responsibility is to expose them to everything.
Yeah.
Let them find a thing they're passionate about and support them, as opposed to you doing what you want as a parent. Like, obviously, I wish my kids were stud athletes. Yeah. That'd be fucking dope being, at the French Open and let's go.
It's not happening.
But like,
I can promise you that's not happening.
But my point is like, of course that's what I want. But but like, I look at my oldest son and it's like, he's so fucking smart. Yeah. Like he's an intellect, and that's what I want to support him in. I want him to play sport to be active. But
what's the line of not letting them?
No, so I have a good story. Okay. So a mutual friend, D saw in our office, I had a meeting with. He is a little older than us, like 10, 15 years older. I actually worked for him. Okay. Harvard Westlake, Harvard undergrad, Harvard Business School.
Yep.
Has 2 kids in Pasadena. And he was telling me his daughter at like 13, 14, like came home with like a test that she like didn't do well in and just started bawling, crying. And they were like, oh shit, we need to like chill out. Yeah. Like we need to like pump the brakes.
Do they feel it was their fault?
No, they felt like we didn't want to put the pressure on her that she's coming home crying.
But do they feel they were putting the pressure on her?
They are
probably.
Probably,
like,
right?
Probably, right? Like, and they were like, we need to pump the brakes. Yeah. Like, obviously, it's a very intellectual family. Yeah. And she came home with a bad test score. Yeah. And they basically, like, literally stepped away. They were like, do you? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she's at Columbia now. Yeah. And Columbia's like actually impossible. Like, these schools are impossible to get into. Yeah. And he told me, he's like, literally, we stepped away and we're like, do you? Yeah.
Maybe they stepped in. Should be
let me ask you guys.
I have a.
Wait, what did you just say? What did you say?
Maybe she stepped in to be at Harvard. Columbia's not Harvard, let me tell you. Maybe.
Amazing.
I mean, I look at resumes all day. I look at resumes. I see Harvard, I put it in one pile.
Different pile.
Columbia, I put it in another pile.
Yeah.
No, but the fact that they stepped away and they thought she wouldn't even go to college.
I have a 14 and 9-year-old. I have 2 boys, and I think you're correct, which is expose them to lots of stuff. I am the without stakes person. Yeah. And let them find what they love. So my mentality is I'm like, nothing bad, obviously, right? Check their friends, check their behavior, check what teachers say about them, and what their friends' parents say about them. So I'm like, behavioral, good human being is literally all I care about. Yeah. And I will say I am on the level of soft or whatnot, I am on the soft side. Yeah. I am for sure. Like, if I thought my kid, I went to Berkeley. I'm a big Berkeley fan, right? If I thought my kid was capable of going to Berkeley, but if I forced, for him to get there would be me having to force him. Yeah. If he didn't go to Berkeley, he went to Boulder or Arizona or something like that. I'm fine with that. I'm totally okay with that. I'm a happiness and a whatever person. And I think through that kind of Zen mentality, I'm like, and he's going to get to where he wants to go. Yeah. And by the way, he might go to fucking Berkeley and he might hate it and he might hate the pressures, whatever. And he might go to some other place. And in that 18 to 22-year-old unlock some amazing thing in him. Yeah. I'm like, life is not linear. There's no clear path. Who you are, you're 30 or 40 is.
I think that's the point about like people put too much pressure on like this like youth part of your life where they think that's where all the magic happens. Yes. I actually think it happens way later in life.
100%.
Oh yeah, and I actually had this 100%. Conversation with the parent I'm talking about, how like everyone's so supercharged in middle school, high school, college, and then they burn out.
Correct.
And because like some of the most successful people we all know were the most non-traditional backgrounds.
Yeah. And I think, and I know you're saying something, but I think one other cool thing is I think stuff has changed. So I do think when our parents were young, there was this linear path. There was this college, job for 40 years, picket fence, house, 2 kids, whatever. We're like, I think we're all around the same age. Like, yeah, you kind of had to do the things, you kind of did that, but there was a little more. The world is upside down right now. Like the combination of social media, entrepreneurialism, my entire TikTok feed is 19-year-olds telling me how to do drop shipping and make $100,000 a month. I'm like, that kid didn't need it. If he's,
I mean, think about your clients,
lying, but he's probably also making $100,000 a month in ad revenue, scamming
and
my 14-year-old.
NFTs 2 years ago.
The amount of stuff my 14-year-old comes and wants to do and buy, I'm like, good. Congratulations.
Your clients
to
are
these
21
maniacs.
to 19 and more successful than 99.9% of people will ever be.
Correct. They're more successful than me. 100%.
I mean, you work for them, so
I work for them. Yeah. But I know what percentage I get.
Can you imagine when you were growing
way
up,
larger
like,
percent in the relationship.
what am I going to do when I grow up? I'm going to work for a 19-year-old.
Nope, I didn't.
It's amazing.
Probably
You
would
didn't
have
see that in your bingo
I probably would
cards.
have grabbed that person and shaken them. Like, I don't know if that's a thing, but
It's just an interesting debate. Like, I feel like you could have it for hours. Because also at the same time, it's like
Yes.
we judge like, oh, all the MLB stars are coming out of the Dominican Republic and all the blah, 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 like as if almost like you want your kids to be the next Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I don't think you want your kid to be
I don't think
Michael
you do.
Jordan or Tiger
No.
Woods.
No, you
or,
don't.
Like
You
it's not a happy.
No, it's not a happy existence.
Totally right. So the Harvard, the neurosurgeon, the whatever. I'm
Yeah.
telling you, 90% of those people wake up at 40 and it's like, I don't like any of this,
Yeah.
and I don't even know who I am.
Yeah.
Right. And then I do think
And
society
they
is
look at
doing
the
a,
ocean view
Have
and be
you-
like,
have you
know
seen-
what?
Yeah.
It's not that fucking bad.
I don't know.
Have
man.
you
I don't
seen-
think
I'm
they
at
do.
the
I don't-
Have you
Montage
seen
Laguna
some of the
Beach.
Tom Brady TikTok clips?
of
He
him
did
doing
an
that interview with whoever that guy. Yeah,
Yeah, that guy.
dude
He
who's all
does.
over.
He
Yeah.
did Kobe
A
too.
new one. A new
Yeah,
one?
it's
No.
like in the
It's
last
going.
week.
It's like every clip
It's gone
is going.
viral.
Yeah.
Oh, he's great.
He is great.
He's a great
I
interviewer.
do like him. Yeah.
But like the way Tom Brady talks,
He's a psycho.
you're just like it's
yeah,
really
yeah.
tough to be like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
I wanted to.
I think we want
kill
it.
him and
Exactly.
fuck him in the
No, it's
ass.
literally-
Yeah.
He literally
Yeah.
said, I literally had to come in my mind and say, I'm gonna fucking kill this motherfucker.
Come in his mind. Yeah.
He probably does that. He's probably like, oh, watch this.
No, but if you saw
I learned that.
if you saw the
part of my
intensity in
training.
the interview, you saw the interview,
I
right?
said
I
he
saw
was a
And
maniac.
he's a maniac.
Yeah.
But I think selfishly as consumers,
We want that.
we want that, and we want those people to be Americans,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
want them to.
And
we
look
wanna
like us.
worship
we want
them,
them to be
right?
the quarterback of our football
Yes,
team.
but you don't want it
Yeah.
to be your kid.
Exactly.
I think even you
Yeah.
personally, you're like, I wish I could have been that. I love tennis. I could have been Nadal. I could have been.
I know I can't.
But when you have kids, you don't wish that upon them.
Okay.
I'll
say,
It seems like I don't have
so
kids.
here's my feeling is we're getting a little philosophical,
It's
but
fine.
philosophically, I think that there is happiness and success are completely fucking different things. And not only are they different, I always say this, the formula in life for happiness is how close your reality meets your expectations.
Yeah.
So if you have so if you're a person who's like, I want to fucking make $100 million a year and you make $50 million a year, you are by definition unhappy.
Yeah.
But if you're a person who fucking thought they were going to make $100,000 a year and you make $500,000, you're fucking happy.
Yep.
One guy's making 50, one guy's making 500.
Yep.
The formula for success is never being satisfied with what you have. It's the literally complete opposite end of the spectrum of happiness.
And also, sorry, just real quick, just a little tidbit in there is what's even more fucked up that you guys are talking about as parents is like the Tiger Woods type syndrome where it's not even your expectations. It's like your dad's expectations
Correct.
that you can just never
Somebody
live up
else's,
to,
right?
You know?
So to take that premise, which is happiness and success are opposite end of the spectrum, as a parent, you do start asking yourself these questions, which is, what do I want of my child?
Yeah.
Do I want my child to be successful or do I want my child to be happy?
Yeah.
And the miracle is when you have a fucking very stable, functional human being who can kind of be right in the middle, be like, I'm successful enough for what I think I'm capable of, and that for I'm kind of happy because I have good means. So I think that's it. I think as a parent, you got to find toe that line of like, another huge thing is being realistic, right? You got to be realistic with your kids. So if you look at your kid and they're 9 years old and they're not that good at sports, don't drive that kid into the ground for your own personal thing. Like I'll give you my son played on a basketball team. My son's a fine basketball player, but he's not ever going to be elite. And he had a coach who was terrible. And he would come back and he would complain all the time. And I was like, cool, I'm going to go to your next practice and I'm going to observe. And I went and I drove home and I was like, that guy is an asshole. You can quit the basketball team. And I let him quit the team. And there's tons of people like, oh, you're teaching him to quit. And I was like, or I'm going to teach him to be miserable and let people surround him. So it's hard.
Yeah, I think the other big thing is that we're in a privileged position where we can optimize for our children's happiness. Whereas I think a lot of people around the world are just like, man, I struggled.
Yes.
If my kid is good at X, then he or she is going to have a better life.
Yeah.
So like if she wins the gold and, for Russia in the Olympics, then like our life changes, her life changes. And I think that's why those people in in MLB and why the soccer players in whatever countries they come from predominantly, they're just different background.
Correct.
And they're doing it out of like, they have no other choice.
Necessity.
Yeah. We're doing it because like we can afford private coaching and tutors.
What I just said about happiness success is the most privileged thing a human being could ever say. Yeah. So I am self-aware that I'm sitting in a beautiful office that you guys run with my bullshit fucking shoes on and
nice shoes.
Thank you. So
it's fascinating to me too.
I apologize to everybody.
but I think like, you know, and I think that's a challenge is that like a lot of parents are sitting there and I see it like we're at parks every fucking weekend and I see it like I see parents who are like they see their kids and they're like they're good, they're athletes, they're studs, and they know that if my kid can be great at this, then that's their way out. The irony is
for sure.
Like when you talk about happiness, you know, like we grew up going to India basically, you know, every other summer. We were always around and long periods of time, months on end as a child. And, you know, we would be around surrounded by like a lot of our cousins who had no money. We were also surrounded by slums, but like the genuinely some of the most happiest people I've ever witnessed in my life. And like specifically Indian culture, there's this like spirituality or whatever it is, the religion about being content. Because if you're content, you're way more happy than the person next to you.
Correct.
And I think that effectively has changed India and Indians globally is because, yes, we've been very successful in America as like immigrants, but like we're also pretty happy with whatever we end up with. And I think that actually helps you. That's an alpha in life because it's like, I'm not doing something because I want it more. Yeah. I'm doing it something because I actually I just like it. Yeah. Like, fuck it. I like working hard or I like.
But I don't think that's particular to Indian culture, right? Like if you went to Sao Paulo in the slums there, I would imagine
I literally think it has a lot to do with Hinduism and the background of that more so than any.
But if you went to what's the
favelas?
Yeah, I bet you they're happy.
No, there's the most crime you've ever seen in your life. I've been there.
Yeah, I don't know what they like.
It's not like that.
Is there not a lot of crime in India?
Well, there's tons of crime.
Yeah, but it's not like murders and shit.
But I don't know. I feel like you guys are like, it's just Brazilians are like star, you know, athletes. You guys are CEOs.
Yeah.
You know, but somewhere that family's still like, we're getting the fuck out of here. You're going to go run Google, you little bastard.
By the way, you're right. That is the way out.
Yeah. They're showing Sundar. We're going to get out of here.
But by the way, if you are a parent and you have kids, let me tell you, instead of being at the baseball field, being good at math will get you out of any fucking slum.
Doesn't every kid want to take the test to get an IIT and all that? That's like that's their Major League Baseball.
That's basically it. But
like you're not going to hit the ball like Ryan Braun. Sorry. Like just
cricket guys.
I know, but by the way,
learn leadership techniques.
Do you know how many Indian Ryan Brauns there are? They're unlimited.
Yeah.
Make that much money.
Yeah. I think the other big X factor here that we didn't really mention that also ties back to the Demelios is we're talking about all this as like
get it. You got another bottle here.
John only knows what I'm going to say next.
We're talking about all this in like the context.
Get some?
Thank you.
I think the last piece of this is we're talking about this in like, even in the harshest way that you represented parents, you said sort of like, this will get you a better life.
Yeah.
You should do this. This will get you a better life. I think there's a really big part that is like I think if you're in the valley screaming at your kid, you have a pretty good life.
Yeah.
If you're screaming at your kid on that soccer field, you have an insecurity problem. And your kid, you look at your kid as a reflection of your value and things. And I think that's kind of who knows, but the Tiger Woods thing, the Matthew Knowles thing, we've heard these stories over and over. And I think even in the world of TikTok, we saw another family, and there's been a few of them, similar to the Demelios, whose parents wanted to be in on
all up in the videos.
Yeah. And you know that was like, oh, I'm going to get a ticket to fame and I'm going to be cooler because of my daughter, my, at the time, 16, 17-year-old daughter. Yeah. I think that's the thing that none of you guys have that thing. But I think that's like the dark part.
I don't know. I don't know if my kid's good enough to get me that.
That's true. You might get fired up.
Yeah, I think it's
my deep security and myself lets me have my kids do whatever the hell they want.
Honestly, what if these kids became social media famous? This guy's a monster.
He's a monster.
Miles, where we going tonight? Let's go. Picking you up.
You're going to Delilah and Poppy. I know where you're going.
Fucking 62 years old and Delilah, like, what's up?
Yeah, he won't be the only one in there.
Miles, go take this picture right now.
But, you know, like that's a huge other thing. It's not just, you guys are talking about very pure, like what you want for your kids. Do you want your kids? There's like this fucked up angle, which it also, once again, back to the parents of Charlie and Dixie.
Wait, so hold on. You have a 14-year-old kid and you have a 19 and 20-year-old client.
Yeah.
So how do you kind of navigate that?
Honestly, it's super helpful. Like my
practice.
I learned, well, a little bit.
You actually work for a 14-year-old, 9-year-old.
I just wake up each day and figure out who's yelling at me the loudest, and then I respond to their text.
No, because like is your 14-year-old like you have these superstar clients?
Yeah, I mean, his friends think it's cool. And I found out about Charlie and Dixie from Jack. Like we were on Christmas break 2019, and I was sort of paying attention to the TikTokers. All my clients are like the massive YouTubers and some Instagram people, and literally every single one of his friends were like, "This is all that matters right now. Like this app and these people on it."
4 years ago, he was 10.
He was 10, and we were in like Park City or somewhere, and literally the only thing he can do was watch TikTok. And then I would look at it, and his entire For You page was like Charlie and a couple of these other people. So it was great. So it's market research, and he definitely lets me know what's cool and what's not cool. And, you know, he thinks half the shit I do is cringy as hell and makes fun of me. And he thinks some of the stuff I do is very cool. So
how do you navigate parenting a 14-year-old when he knows you're managing these like superstars?
He's probably used to it, right?
He's used to it. He's okay with it. Listen, Jack likes the fun stuff. So like, you know, he'll if I'm on Monaco for the Grand Prix, like he definitely will be like, okay, we're coming back and we're sitting courtside at a Laker game. Like he has some definitely high expectations.
No wonder he's not going to soccer practice.
Dad gets to do stuff, Jack gets to do stuff. Yeah. So and by the way, it's hard. I do not know the balance between wanting to share the fun stuff I do and the experiences and spoiling. And I don't want a kid that, you know, is 30 years old and was like, oh, I can't achieve the stuff I was able to do when I was 14 or 15 because my dad did it for me. And I went to I went to Brentwood. I went to like a fancy, and I'm telling you, a lot of the kids their parents were elite superstars, and they were like my friends, and they're not doing anywhere near what their parents are doing now. Yeah. And I don't know if that's a painful existence. So it is a balance between like, which probably is a little bit why I don't put pressure on them, because I'm like, I don't know.
It's tricky. Who knows?
You don't want your shit as a parent to like, you know, cascade down on your kids. That's every movie you see about a kid who has therapy about his parents. So it is try to create the kindest, nicest environment for them. And like I said, my number one thing is don't do the bad stuff. Like just if you're, you know, I talked to him a lot about drugs. I talked to him a lot about parties. I talked to him a lot about, he's a freshman in high school now. So I'm like, what are the seniors doing? And like, do any of your friends have siblings who are like in 11th or 12th grade? Because when I was in 9th grade and I had the friends who had the siblings who were in 11th or 12th grade, they're the ones who had all the stuff.
Right.
So you just gotta, you know, you gotta monitor.
We'll bleep this out, but what high school does he go to?
And it does seem like a lot lot of, you know,
good
parents
people
who are good, but nobody there is like, oh, we drive Bentleys and, you know, vacation in Aspen. Like, I don't have any of those.
It's a really
they're like Mammoth and, you know, GMCs.
Well, that's better.
Valley is all about that Mammoth white sweatshirt. Like if you have that white sweatshirt from Mammoth growing up,
for sure,
that was the coolest thing. It's interesting because like the big thing that I'm seeing is that parents are so like overbearing and want like, and it's from a good intention. Like they want the best for their kids. So they're like pushing them, they're putting them in activities, they're putting them in things and things like that. And I think they have good intentions, but and most of these parents are all successful parents because they're sending them to the best schools.
Yep.
But most of them didn't come from that. Yeah. Most of them came from very simple existence, and they just found their way and they became successful and they were able to provide for their family. I think it's actually quite simple. Like put them in the right environment and let them figure it out.
And they're all unique. Like my older one to my younger one, totally different people. Yeah. That was another great advice I got when we were pregnant with the second one. Some friend was like, he is going to come out with his own stamp. So whatever, you're going to raise him the exact same, do the same thing. He's going to be just a different human being. And I was like, oh, so what I do actually doesn't really matter. Yeah. So who these people are matters. I think another thing is personal experience. So I personally have the experience, like went to Brentwood, you know, from 6th grade to 7th grade. It's what every kid in LA like wants to do. Hated it. Hated every minute of it. Left Brentwood in 9th grade, went to Birmingham, which was like
Suburban
insane,
Valley High School, similar
big
to
public school, but like very different. Then I worked my ass off. I went to Berkeley. I went to law school at UCLA. I got a dream job at a big law firm and I hated it. And I quit within like a few months. And I've had like 4 different careers. So I think it's very easy for me to be like, who he is at 18 or 22 or 25 is not going to be who he is at 40. They're going to find their own paths. If you're a parent who like did the thing, went to medical school, went to law school, or still doing that job 25 years from now, I do feel you're like, I better give that to my kid or I let them down. Yeah. I'm a lot more like, we're all a bunch of weirdos and you're going to have 10 different directions and just.
I mean, if you think about the 3 of us, we all have
ask you guys
multiple different careers in the last, since we've known each other.
Yeah.
Which gives you the confidence to know when you have kids and when you guys have kids to be like, they'll sort it out as long as they don't make any of the big catastrophic mistakes.
It's funny because
that's all matters.
Because saying that, you're logically right, but I don't know. I feel like I would feel some sort of, like you'd almost
give them direction.
I bet you if
you'd feel an anxiety to be like, no, trust me, I know now. Because now I've done it. And
I bet you if you were to have kids and no one gave you any parental advice, you would be a super aggressive parent. and not in a negative way.
But like screaming on a baseball field?
No. But like you would have them in everything to make sure they're intellectually stimulated, well-rounded. Yeah. Because
I probably would. Because if I had no input.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because I have kids who are literally doing everything and their kids are amazing. They're the happiest. Yeah. They were meant to do that.
Yes.
My kid's not meant to do that. Yeah, so we're fine. Like we're cool with that. But like I think like you would be like, given how well read you are and now you know about the world, you might say like, Bucket, you're going to Kumon when you're 6 months old, and like you're doing this and you're doing that and you're doing piano, and like
I think without any guidance, I would probably do that. I'm just being honest, but I want to go on the microphone so it's on record and say I think Greg is right. Yeah, that the important thing is to remember, hey, I figured it out. Yeah. They'll figure it out too. Yeah. But I see where there would be this pull to be like, yeah, no, but I don't want you to have to do that.
Struggle, yeah.
Like, watch, now I know. Yeah. And I don't think that works.
So, I vividly remember this.
Yeah. Joe Rogan has a whole thing on like, there's definitely, again, some like matrix thing of like enough trauma, but not too much trauma, whatever, to build you into a well-functioning human being. Coddling and all that stuff, that's not good. Somebody grinding in your ear all the time, like balance, right? I think everything in life always can come down to balance.
Every ounce of my confidence comes from the weird shit I've survived and
those times something happened and then you overcame it, or just,
and like you talk about
discovered something.
You're talking about Joe Rogan as advice, and if you think about his life path,
totally. Who would have thought he's a person that's going to be a guiding light? He was a pool hall
guy.
Yeah.
That was a
fighter. He used to fight.
Yeah. And then he fought, and then now he's like the most successful media guy in the world.
Yeah. Totally. Comedian. All over the place.
Yeah, I think
he'd be the first person sitting here to be like, I don't know anything, right? Yeah. So your own individual struggle is going to be what makes you.
I think everyone ends up how they're supposed to, and putting pressure on people.
As long as you don't make the catastrophic mistake. Right. And that's what I'll keep going to, which is the only thing we do as parents is like, if I found out for 1 second that my kid was addicted to pills, right? Like, and that's a real thing. People have that shit. That's your job. Yes. Your job is to intervene and stop that from happening. Yeah. If he had some crazy lunatic girlfriend that was starting to like drive him crazy and make him like not go to school and be depressed and all that stuff, intervene, right? Other than that, you hate math and you don't really want to do math. I've never asked my kid, what did he get on a test? I've never asked a single question. I have no freaking clue what his grades are. And he's in 9th grade. Yeah. And I'm like, he seems fine. Yeah. I get good feedback from the people around him.
I think it's a way to think about it.
And it's to be honest. That's my other big thing too, is like, again, other than the disaster stuff, it's on him. If he doesn't want to work hard and doesn't want to do the shit, he's not going to achieve what he wants to achieve.
And by the way,
and then he'll be 25 and be like, he might be happy.
Well, not only that, he might figure out a different path where he can.
Or he'll be 25 and be like, oh, I should start a restaurant. And then 10 years later, he owns Cheesecake Factory, right? And I'm like, I would have never thought that if he went to Harvard, he would have never done that. And he could be 10 times richer. Intervene on the crazy shit and then let them be the weirdos that they are.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's like the.
But I actually think the problem in LA that we see with parents is they're all trying to get them in this factory.
Yeah.
And
because you see Charlie Damelio and you're like,
this
I want
goes to
some
what
of
I was going
that.
to say something earlier, which is so the worst thing you can have is life is unrealistic expectations. And so social media is the toxic fucking purge on our culture of you watch all of your friends eating at these places and traveling, and you see influencers doing stuff, and then your expectations, I should be able to do that. And parents for their kids, why do parents want their kids to go to Buckley and Harvard Westlake? Sort of for their kids, a lot for them.
Yes.
A lot so they can tell their friends at dinner where they go.
For me, it's 100% me. Mm-hmm. I want them to go to those schools for me.
Totally.
Straight up.
And I get it. And that's a fair human thing.
Yeah.
But is it the right move, right?
Yeah,
and so it's complicated.
That's like a constant discussion in our house because our child goes to a school that's highly academic and competitive and whatever. And I don't know when he's at the time of high school or middle school, whatever it is,
right?
What school he'll go to, because he has to be the right fit for those schools. Because if not, they have a miserable existence.
Exactly.
Because I have plenty of friends, kids who did not enjoy that experience.
Yeah.
And they're very unhappy children because of that. So I think.
But you got to be deeply confident in yourself to then pull back on what's important to you.
Yeah. And I think
he just said it. He said it's for him.
Yeah, it is for me.
Yeah.
Well,
because in my
Dom's gonna have a TikTok account. He's like, dance.
Yeah. I mean, I remember vividly just losing out on things in life because of Harvard Westlake kids. So now I was like, "Fuck this! I want my kid to be that."
So we'll go. So you went to public school all the way through?
Till USC. Yeah,
till USC. So funny enough, so my experience of Stephen Weiss, Brentwood to Birmingham, I think these places are trash because I got to experience it.
Yeah.
So when as he was going through his thing, people would say, "Oh, do you want your kid to go to this and that?" And I was like, "No."
Yeah.
But that, life experiences.
Yeah. I have to experience it as a parent, and and I have to experience it with my child, and we'll see where they end up. And
parenting.
No, but it's also the shitty part about all this like elite private schools. So in our high school, Granada, which is where we went, I had the grades and the SAT scores to get into any school, but they only allowed one person, Derry, who listens to the podcast. You guys have met him in New York.
Yeah.
He got into Stanford. He got everywhere. Only one kid got in.
Correct. That is how it works.
And we had 1,000 kids in our class.
Mm-hmm.
And that's insane. I was like...
Yeah, that's unfair.
I was like...
But that's what your boy Sleepy does. He just hands out money, only the best. Your Hunter gets money.
No, but like I couldn't get into these schools because Derry was better than me.
He took the spot. That's trash.
He took everything.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
And you went to SC also?
Do you want your kid to experience that, or do you want your kid to get into the fucking
school? To go to the school that has a 6
That's why I'm like, okay, because I know, sure, but like the world has changed. If you, as a parent, you just try to give your kids as much alpha as possible, and maybe sometimes it comes off overbearing, and sometimes I don't know yet. I will know.
How old are your kids?
6 and 3.
Yeah, you got.
So we'll know in
no, it's fine.
We'll know in 12 to 15 years.
Get them going,
bro. You have no idea how hard I'm working. I'm hustling out here.
Amazing.
And but like,
do you have a flight?
What?
Do you have a flight tonight?
By the way,
Not
I love
tonight,
this.
thank God.
This podcast, I literally feel like I'm just talking to a bunch of guys in the valley.
Yeah,
I keep referencing Birmingham,
in LA. Drama mainly lives in South.
This is hilarious.
Yeah.
This is so funny. Where'd you grow up?
Ohio.
Yeah. All right. How was that? Pressure. Is there a private school pressure situation, or does everybody go to everyone's a little more chill?
No, it was very, very, very small town. I don't even know if there's any private schools like close by.
Yeah.
I mean, where did LeBron must have gotten a private school?
He went to St.
Vincent's.
Yeah. I was about to say there's Catholic schools.
That's
probably.
a Catholic school.
St. V is private though.
It is. The
only thing I would know
money to go to that
in all
school.
these places, there was probably a handful of religious schools that are private, but there was no Harvard Westlake and Crossroads. I'm sure.
Big Jesus.
Yeah, definitely not.
A lot of Jesus.
But I will say, St. V seemed like, it seemed fancy at the time. If you went and looked at it now, it wouldn't, like with this perspective, it wouldn't look like anything. But for us, that felt like where all the rich kids went.
Yeah. And then you heard about Lawrenceville, which is in New Jersey, and it's $72,000 a year.
Some of these places are so crazy.
But yeah, nothing like any of this. My path is like so different than
creative
any of this. Yeah. And this is so like, you guys are like the LA path. and you really relate, you really bond on like the path of growing up in LA.
Yes.
Where for me, and I don't think mine's that unique, because I think probably a lot of small towns, it would feel very similar. It's just different.
Yeah.
You know, I just grew up skateboarding every day. That's all I wanted to do. LA was the coolest place in the world for skateboarding. So from like age 12, I knew I was going to move to LA as soon as I could. I came out here. I figured it out.
Yeah, found your way.
When I moved here.
Nice. Yeah.
And
but I'm sure all different places have been. I mean, maybe sport. Like if you again, we're talking about Dallas or these places. Like if you live there, you probably don't have pressure to go to Harvard. You have pressure to play sports.
Yeah, you better be
if you suck at sports, your dad hates you.
So if you think about our high school,
horrible.
like where we can't get into Stanford, Harvard, we can't get into Wharton, we can't get any of these schools. Who are our graduates? Ryan Braun, MVP. Travis Kalanick started Uber. Jay Brown runs Rock Nation.
Yeah,
Me.
Studs.
D and I.
Yeah,
You can debate our successes, but like
you guys have the most.
Point
you guys
is
have the
like
most popular podcast in the world.
number one podcast in the
You guys
world,
have the number one podcast in the world.
yeah.
which is crazy. We can't get into those schools, but we all achieve things that are better than 99% of their graduates.
That's it.
I
And
know, but
think
it'd be
that's
nice to have gone to those schools.
Do you think so?
I don't think so.
Honestly, real question. If you could go back and
I
do
don't
it, you
think
could
so
have
at all.
gone to
I
Harvard
think
or Yale.
I enjoyed my experience in college because of the friends I made,
Okay.
but I don't think USC, outside of relationship, gave me any alpha.
I agree, but that relationship gave me alpha.
Yeah. So relationships helped me made lifelong friends, which I would never replace.
Okay.
But intellectually,
Yeah.
I was not challenged at USC.
Interesting.
I think
was
you're a lot
fucking
bored,
I was
though.
actually
Do you-
challenged by my friends at USC.
Was that your fault, or was that did you go to
That was his
class and
fault.
did you go?
I did my first year. I went to class and I got straight A's, and I was like,
cheated.
You did
Yeah.
not get straight A's.
Okay.
It's bullshit.
Freshman year.
You almost fucking you got kicked out of
freshman
school.
year, I got
cheated
straight
all the way
A's.
through.
Freshman year.
Okay.
Freshman year.
Interesting.
You were not there. You were like 12 years old.
Okay.
Freshman year.
Slight debate. But okay.
And then after I
There's
was
no
like,
chance he
It
got
was too
straight A's.
easy.
No, but here's the thing
Any
is-
year in college.
no,
Yeah.
freshman year, 100% I got
Yeah.
straight A's. Then what happened was I was like, unfortunately at that time, USC was not good.
what it is today.
It was
USC
morons.
was you signed your name and
I
cashed
went
the
to-
check.
I went to
That's
people that went to, like,
100%,
I went to
yeah.
people that went to
We're the
fucking
same age.
Montclair Prep. It's a fucking parking lot now. Montclair Prep's not even a real school.
That's your roommate.
I know, but like I'm just saying, like they're,
get it. I
Yes, they're morons. And so I literally was like, this is my competition at this
Yeah.
school. This place is trash.
Fair.
So I stopped. I just checked out,
But
and I
it
was like,
changed 3 years later. Because my friends are extremely intelligent.
Well, SC
Not
now,
to your
SC now
opinion.
is a great school.
No,
when I was
there-
there,
I
I'm
can tell you
44.
they went to
When
the
I was
Montclair
this is
Prep
just-
of India.
This is just D's experience at
He's
USC.
experienced. He just hung out with a bunch of morons.
Yeah.
But like when I was like, if you grew up in LA, you're
Ryan and
like,
Andres.
Brian was actually smart.
I will say
Yeah, I
at
think-
Berkeley, I did not go to school. I literally never went to class. I went to like pick up my syllabus and then turn in my midterm and then take my
Yeah.
final. But to your point, I was surrounded by incredibly intellectual people. And so the
Yeah.
3 o'clock in the morning conversations of how the hell did we all get here and whatever was like,
Yeah, like
set
that
for
didn't
me.
happen.
Yeah.
That happened to me,
That
though.
was great.
But and it's funny because I was talking to, I have in my new business, I have several people that went to Harvard that work with me, and we're
Work
all
for
talking.
you.
Yeah, right?
The dummy from USC as Harvard
Yes.
people.
Yeah.
That's my point. It was
Isn't
just
that
like,
what you
I don't
really
think you
want?
should change
Yeah.
a whole lot.
Yeah.
Things seem to be going just fine.
Is that an Elon
Yeah.
quote? Like, I didn't go to an Ivy League school, but the people who work for me did.
They love
Did he go
that.
to Stanford? Where'd he go?
I don't know where you
I
went.
don't know if you even went to
No, University of Pennsylvania.
that's Ivy League.
Maybe no.
Penn State?
No, maybe Penn State.
If he went to Penn, he went to fucking
No,
Ivy
I
League.
think,
but
maybe the quote is Harvard. I didn't go to
I
Harvard.
was
but they do
thinking,
work for me.
here.
I was talking to them about this, and I was telling them that I think the thing about USC that was special was, and for me personally, not forget work, business, anything. My friends to this day, not once, I think once, and that was 2-3 years ago when I decided to start this new business, have I ever talked to my friends about anything serious.
Mm.
Ever. And these are people like 25 years, 30 years I've been friends with. And it's always lighthearted, it's fun, and that's our friendship.
Great.
And I love it.
Yeah.
And very rarely do we ever get to the point where it's like, and I remember vividly like 10, 15 years ago, I was in San Francisco, probably 2008, 2009. up there with some friends. And I go to dinner with these people, and they're like talking about the future of the world. I was like, fuck this. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, right.
The future of the world.
I'm the same.
Press a button and get a car. Get the fuck out of here. I don't give a shit.
But those places too, like if you go to Harvard and you don't graduate and go into investment banking or get the premium thing at Microsoft, like you're a failure there. But I don't know if those are the most fulfilling things or not. They're certainly not the most entrepreneurial and creative. So
no, yeah, I do
think
it comes down to happiness, right?
Happiness
like
and who you are.
Yeah,
who you are. I think you guys are clearly entrepreneurial people that like your lives allowed you to do that. Your lives allowed you not to do the thing that was like get on the treadmill of life, and like it seems like it worked for you.
Yeah, I mean, I run into people we went to high school with all the time because my kids go to school in the Valley now, and everyone who went to Granada, they seem pretty happy, regardless of what they're doing.
Yeah,
they're just like they're chilling. Yeah, they're just like.
I think I got the best of both worlds. So like I did investment banking right out of college, so I got exposed to Wall Street and like.
Learned
that
about
crazy life.
Yeah.
And then I started working for D, and I'm collecting $10,000 in a stairwell in East LA.
Yeah. Perfect.
So,
incredible.
It's much more fun.
I love that.
Yeah. It's fun.
You got to be a well-rounded individual.
I'm going to have my kids go collect cash for me. Like, you want to grow up?
You never know.
Fucking drive down.
Yeah,
drive down
I didn't know if I was going to come out alive, but I did it.
That's an important lesson.
Done my fair share.
I want to talk about the last biggest story of the day.
Yeah, please. What is it?
Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Okay, so is this real? Go.
Oh my God! You want to see my TikTok?
Shut up. Relax, Wokey. Relax, Wokey.
Loves Taylor.
So Taylor Swift came to the Kansas City Chiefs game, sat in the box next to Travis Kelce's mom.
But have you guys talked about any of this yet?
No.
Okay, so let me just give a little bit more lead up.
Yeah.
It started like buzzing online.
About 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
The rumor was Travis Kelce's dating Taylor Swift.
Yes.
His brother said it on a podcast.
Well, so then that was part of it. So then like everyone was like, is this really real? No way.
And his brother's a famous football player.
Yeah.
Famous football player in the Eagles.
And they have a podcast together.
And then it kind of looked like Travis maybe just kind of shot his shot at her.
Yep.
Like
he said that the other day.
You do your thing at the stadium. Come watch me do my thing at the stadium. It was kind of like, yeah, but this isn't real.
Yeah.
And I think Dave Portnoy was involved. He was saying there's no way this is real. Then his brother on a podcast said, I think it's real.
Yeah, a couple of days ago.
But I feel like everyone was kind of like, no.
Yeah.
And then today I'm watching the game and she's seen in the box. And then
with his mom.
With his mom in his box. It's his box.
And cheering when he got a touchdown.
Oh,
let's fucking go.
Batshit crazy, jumping up and down like a girlfriend.
Yes. And then they walk out of the locker room today together.
Oh.
Travis and Kelce. Then they hop in a convertible together. This is the most staged, manipulated thing I've ever seen in my life.
I love it.
This is Ukraine on steroids.
I love it because
interesting.
If you
What do you mean? Why would it be staged?
I think what?
Why would it be staged?
I don't think so. I think it's genuine.
because it's hot. It's
Dude,
no.
We're all talking about it.
I'll actually.
It's gonna be on 60 Minutes. Relax, Wokey. Shut up. The woke love this.
The Swiftie over there is a Swiftie.
I'm a Swiftie.
I am too.
Yeah, the woke
I
love
think her
this.
music's great.
The woke love that.
I love the concert. I can't wait to go to Miami next fall.
But like for PR, if you're going to pick a boyfriend for Taylor Swift, I don't think you're picking Travis Kelce.
No, but the lead up was so good, and the thing is like.
So this is the release party.
This was so well
launch, as they say on the internet.
That's
marketing. This is the argument for why not to go to Harvard, because I don't know where Travis Kelce went. Taylor Swift didn't go to college.
Yep.
They clearly have.
They're the biggest stars on the planet now.
Biggest stars, and Travis Kelce is like the tight end for the Chiefs, who's now rumored to be dating.
He just hosted Saturday Night Live.
Yes,
but my point is, he's not like some random athlete. Like
he's
a big star.
In athlete world, he is as big as you can get. He's an MVP of a Super Bowl, whatever.
Yeah,
I think this is real. I think
why else? She wouldn't put herself out. She wouldn't give him that much clout.
Two genuine people who met each other, and I think for her, dating guys is impossible, as you've seen with her history. And I think she has been dating people that have been like using her for clout or using her. He doesn't need any clout.
No,
like,
he's the biggest thing.
He does. Well, the other cool thing, listen, athletes have their probably own set of things if you're a girl dating an athlete. But if you're a musician or whatever, you literally can get more streams by dating her. Like it's a transactional moment. He's not getting more touchdowns or whatever by dating her. So he's dope. And I've spent some time with him. I have mutual friends. He's cool as hell.
And he's probably
confident.
I hung out in a nightclub.
Yeah.
He's like a man's man.
Dude,
like
I had a dinner with him. I would one of these nights and I'm like, I would hang out with this guy every day of the year.
He's like a cooler version of Gronk.
Yeah, he's just awesome and confident and knows who he is. And I think she's like probably enamored by some guy that isn't like drooling over her and making her feel like, oh, if you date me, I get a platinum album. Like he's like, I'm in it. I like it.
I love it.
Yeah, I thought there was no way. It just isn't who I like. I feel like all of her, from what I know, her exes
are like pussies.
Well, yeah, but they're similar.
They're artists. They're definitely been more artists or whatever. And by the way, somebody probably looked at her and said, "And how's that working out for you?"
Yeah,
true.
So why don't you go date a confident dude that doesn't need you at all?
Go date a stud.
And is gigantic and like listen. Travis Kelce is a very, very dope dude. And we love Taylor.
So we love Taylor. And I live for her.
2 weeks from now, there's no chance they're together. So
it's so staged. The whole thing is staged.
I just think
whether it's staged or not,
that's my only thing.
That can be debated. But like what she's done in the last week, she's so savage. And I just love everything about the way she moves. She was in New York with Sophie Turner. Joe Jonas's ex-wife. And they purposely went to like famous New York restaurants, getting photographed, walking out together. Taylor has songs about Joe Jonas. Sophie is now in a divorce with him. And they're just like, fuck it. It's like, we're going
She's
all
supporting
in.
her girl. Like, I do think in that one, she's definitely being like, we're not letting you, Joe Jonas, control the narrative of her as a mom and her as a person, which I love. I think that's, I know none of the details of that, but like, that sounds like a cool friend thing to do.
Yeah.
If that was your friend.
And they went to New York and went to famous restaurants and made sure that everyone saw them.
Yeah. And if you do talk to people, there was a moment in time where there was literally a moment where it's like, oh, Joe Jonas and Sophie, like, she has won the PR game. If you go talk to any person out there in the world who pays attention to this shit, they are team Sophie Turner for sure.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, she's literally Kobe. She literally is so
manipulative.
No, she's just so dialed. Like even with the VMAs, like, did you guys see the clips of her the VMAs?
Yes.
That was obviously like choreographed.
Taylor 100%. Is the best.
Why did you think Travis Kelce's choreographed? 100% it is.
And then
because we believe in love, D. Come on,
God, you of all people from Bucket Entertainment, no love is
and
fake.
And then her in the box, the way she's acting with the mom, like I just love it. It's just so savage. She's such a savage.
The best
to me, it's equivalent to Sleepy sending $24 billion to Ukraine, thinking it's to fight war. It's to buy houses
and then skim a little off the top, and then
I just love the craft of her. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
And like obviously, like I love her music, I love her show, but I love the craft of everything she does.
You like that she's calculated and manipulative?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. And she does that with her music and shit.
Because every A-list celebrity she's just better at it.
Yeah.
Self-aware.
She's also just so famous that anything she does. Like, did you see the security outside of the box?
That's where there's a security outside the box, and then there was like 700 people who, like, game is over. Yeah. They are lining up just to see her. No, they're not getting an autograph. You're not saying hi, just to have that moment in your life where I saw her with my own eyes. It's great. She is.
It's good.
There's all those TikTok memes of like, is she Michael Jackson famous?
Yeah. No, she is. She's the biggest sense.
I don't even understand those ones. Yeah. Like we were all alive in Michael Jackson's time, and like he was very famous, very popular. Like not more famous than this.
No, you're wrong. I'm sorry.
Okay, maybe
Michael Jackson famous.
Maybe on a global stage.
I've already argued with them on the podcast about this. In this fragmented world of celebrity, the fact that there's one person that's this famous is insane.
I think that's super powerful. And the only one I'll say is global. Like if you go to, different continents around the planet where Michael Jackson can go and they bring out 500,000 people. And could she do that? Probably not. Yeah. But in Western US, Europe, major ones, she is easily as famous as that.
I agree with that. I just don't think she's Michael Jackson.
She's the biggest sense.
He had some level of like religious.
How could you be bigger though?
Than Taylor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, don't you think maybe you're just thinking that because Michael's so legendary and like it's like nobody can be as good?
No,
as
he
Michael.
doesn't like it because I like her.
Yeah.
No.
There's just a
let's be very clear.
brotherly.
But objectively speaking, if you think Michael Jackson is less famous than Taylor Swift, you're a moron.
I said she's the biggest sense.
Okay, biggest sense. But you said last episode.
No, I said biggest sense. You could pull the clips.
No, you said she was.
No, you can pull the clips.
No.
Stop.
I didn't
Yeah.
see Michael
Stop.
in action. I just don't. When I saw,
I don't know
For
either,
me, when I saw that wedding that she went to, where there was just she got out of an SUV, walked into a wedding thing, and then they literally ruined the whole wedding because so many people like rode their bikes and shit and showed up to see her walk out. I just don't get how you get more famous than that.
Yeah.
In today's world with all the media and all the cameras, it's pretty wild
especially
existence.
how fragmented media is. There's no way you can get bigger than her.
Right now, she's the most famous person on earth. I believe that.
It's crazy.
That I believe that. I just
And
don't
she
think
wasn't like that before she started the tour.
No.
She was very, very, very famous. This
And the
is
tour just took her.
some other unheightened level of fame that I've never really seen.
Yeah.
Too bad Dee's never going to experience it because he doesn't want to because I like her.
Here's my question.
Here's the thing: is I literally do not give a fuck. So it's amazing. This is what I want in my child. Everyone wants to go to Taylor Swift. You don't need to go. You can still have a great time. I was happy last night watching USC Arizona State. It was like watching Taylor Swift for me.
Yeah, Caleb.
I was like fucking Caleb.
Yeah,
Caleb Williams is my Taylor Swift. You have
amazing.
Taylor Swift. I have Caleb Williams.
Yes.
Here's my question.
I can't wait to take Dom to Taylor.
He ain't going that shit.
He's going. He's going to slowly just. They're going to go on a little car ride together. He's going to play the album. He's going to, indoctrinate.
He has a weird
him.
taste in music.
What if he became a huge Swiftie though? Would that be a disaster?
No, if he's actually into it, I would take him.
Here's my question.
Parenting. This is beautiful.
I am.
Look at you.
I'm not gonna.
I feel like I can leave here tonight.
What's funny is I only play my kids. I only play my kids oldies because of just language. And so we listen to a lot of like Motown, Fleetwood Mac.
50 Cent.
They're oldies.
Yeah. Okay. So today, I just got in the car and White Iverson came on. Plus Malone.
Great song.
That's an oldie for them.
It is, but it has a lot of cursing. Okay. I didn't realize it had a lot of cursing. And the song ended and he goes, Dada, play that song again.
That's it. Okay. I like it.
That's addictive.
And I was like, why? He's like, it's a good song. Yeah. I was like, well, why is it a good song?
He knows good
you
music.
don't even know what this guy's talking about. You don't know who Allen Iverson is. Get the fuck out of here.
Good song.
But this is what I was fascinated by, even in Greg's story and now in Dom's story, is like honest lesson that I'm trying to take home with me tonight is Greg got okay. So Dom knows good music. That was undeniably a career launching song.
Yeah.
Dom can spot it at 6.
Yeah.
Greg here did an entire career pivot and has made, I'm guessing, millions of dollars because of a 10-year-old's lead and saying, Dad, this is what's hot.
Have kids.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do here? I need like a Facebook group with a bunch of 10-year-olds. I can be like, yo, what are you guys up to? What are you listening to? What's hot?
It resonates.
That's crazy.
But it is fact. I mean, go look at every app that's ever been like relevant. Like you'll have people who, I was having a conversation, the tens of thousands of apps that have been started by like wealthy executives with massive amount of funding who had an idea for a thing and it obviously never worked. The Quibbies and the Vessels and the whatever.
Yeah.
You take two people who are 20 something years old to make something that 13 and 14 year olds love.
Yeah.
So it's going to be cool.
No, I have a great
They're
story.
Just smarter than us.
Yeah.
I have a great story about
We're
this.
lame. I am lame as fuck. I try to dress somewhat normal. I don't have any insight on trends.
I was probably 28, 29 years old. And I think Snapchat, I mean, I'm probably messing up the years, but whatever. Snapchat had just started. And I'm in San Francisco. And I'm with all my friends who are like in Silicon Valley. And we're literally at breakfast, hungover after like a big night. And everyone's on this app.
Yep.
And no one knew what it was. They were just like, okay, we got on Snapchat. And everyone we saw were like venture capitalists, like trying to figure out what's going on.
Yep.
And it's this like little kid app.
Yeah.
And everyone's trying to figure out like, what are the little kids doing?
Yeah.
And obviously none of us did anything and made any money off of it. But I remember that moment where like everyone was like, holy shit, there's all these young kids on this one app. And this is before Snapchat like had raised the big rounds or anything, but everyone was trying to understand what was going on.
Youth. Youth does everything though.
I need like a network.
Elvis and Beatles and everything. It wasn't a bunch of executives. It was young people.
Yeah. It was a bunch of kids just super passionate.
There you go. Just start hanging out with.
I know. I need like maybe a network of
Isn't
like
that
fifth grade
streetwear
teachers.
too?
So like streetwear right now, because of what I do, I'm like literally around all these brands and beauty and home goods and all these stuff. So in streetwear particularly, I spend a lot of time and like I need to know what's hot for my business. And so there's a brand that you guys have probably never heard of. It is the hottest fucking thing.
Wow.
What is it?
Hellstar.
Never heard of it.
Hellstar.
Is it
Two
expensive?
kids in the valley. And it's like it's in resale. It is the brand. It is
How do you
like
spell it?
Hell
Hellstar,
Star.
Hell.
Star.
Like, is it like a Chrome Hearts, Palm Angel like
It's
vibe?
it's
Is it like
it's it's like
Yeah,
very
sure.
over embellished
Bold and-
t-shirts and hoodies and big graphics and
nice?
but it's like these two young guys.
That's it.
They're in the Valley, North
Yeah.
Hollywood. They're just absolutely crushing it.
Oh, it's always gonna work.
And like you can't even. Every rapper is wearing it. It's the brand.
Cool.
You can't buy it anywhere. It's every
No
drop
way.
sells out, and
Wow.
like
All right, that's
you
sick.
just for you to stay on top of things constantly, day in and day out. It's so hard. You have to have
a network of people or people pay attention, and
network of
people really
10-year-olds.
authentically
What?
like it.
I said a network of 10 year
Yeah,
olds.
you gotta have those
Probably
kids.
12, 13. 10's probably young.
Launch like group chat kids.
Yeah. By the way, I think you need to have like 6 to 18, depending on what you want to sell.
Seriously.
Yeah, because I look at my 3-year-old and see what he's into.
Yeah.
It's very different than
Blippi.
Yeah, Blippi. Blippi's hot. In my house still.
I did Blippi.
I know,
Yeah,
I
talking about
remember.
that.
I was trying to tell
don't bring
my
that up
3-year-old the
and
other day, I'm
traumatize
like,
me.
I think I can introduce you to Blippi. He's like, right now? He goes, right now you can give me
Oh
Blippi?
my God.
That's amazing. That's hilarious.
I was like, not right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. We may never
Kids-
see that guy ever again.
Kids are. Oh, there's a new one.
Here's my
There's,
last
there's
question.
like a new Blippi.
There's a new one. Yeah.
My last question when it comes to trends and things like that is what do you think is the uptick in girls shooting their shot at the football player this week
Oh my God.
in high school and college?
By the way, can you imagine
because of
Travis
this?
Kelce's
Travis, yeah.
DMs this week? That's why it's not
He's
going to
gonna be
really
like
last.
the new Pete Davidson.
Yeah,
right?
he's
gonna just
the
cycle
hottest
through.
girls
yeah, he's
on
going to go on a
earth.
run for like
this
the next
was
5
great
years.
for his cred.
Yeah.
Right,
But
good
how
for
many
him.
girls now
And
are
he-
like, oh,
And he scored a touchdown.
He
Yeah.
did. I had him on my fantasy team today.
Yeah, did
you?
and Taylor cheered. When it comes to influence, I think it's going to be a hot week for
I mean, he's going to run
football
the
players.
sports media cycle for the whole week.
Yeah.
Oh God.
First
I
take,
literally can't
literally
even
first-
watch ESPN tomorrow.
Yeah. Literally ESPN first take.
Yeah.
It's going to be Travis Kelce.
And I'm like,
Swift.
did you see what the NFL did? The NFL went on their either TikTok or Instagram and changed the description of it from whatever NFL, the best sports league in the world, to Taylor was here 9/24/23.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
NFL. So in your like, I literally my brain today was Taylor is bigger than the NFL.
Yeah, she is.
That's
And
a
she-
crazy concept. This is a
Yeah.
She's bigger than
How
Michael
many-
Jackson. She's bigger than
probably
Michael
how
Jackson.
many-
No, yeah.
Don't
she is.
say that.
She's bigger than
He
Michael.
just gets
She's
mad.
literally
I
bigger than
don't
the
think the
NFL.
NFL would have done that for Michael.
You guys
Michael
don't
was
remember.
here.
You guys are
I'm
too
going to ask
young.
some people.
There was 50
I'm going to talk to some
and
10-year-olds
100,000
and some
people in
80-year-olds.
Arrowhead Stadium. Let's say it was 100,000 people. Let's say 50,000 of them were women who are all 50,000 of them would have literally left the game if Taylor was like, I'm going outside and I'm going to play some music. I have a guitar. I'm going to go outside
Yeah,
and
they
play
would have
music.
left.
And 20,000 of the men.
Here's what-
you would have had
And the guys would have had to go with them. You saw the line
you would
outside
have,
of
if
her
she literally
suite.
said, I'm going to go outside with a guitar and play some music, you would have had 70,000 people leave the Kansas City Chiefs, who
I
these
agree.
people live and breathe, to go watch
Here's
them.
what-
They
here's
wouldn't have
what-
done that for Michael.
You guys are too young.
Yeah, they would have never
You guys
done
don't. You guys
We're
don't know
not
this.
young.
But on a Friday night, 35 years ago, Michael Jackson said he was going to release a music video,
Yeah.
and the entire goddamn country
Yeah, I
watched.
agree.
Not
I agree.
12 million people watch a Kansas City Chiefs game. 100 million people watch him
But they
drop
had
black
three
and
other
white.
options. It was that or fucking Walter
exactly.
Cronkite or fucking...
Yeah, you're wrong.
We
Yeah,
did
they were
have
like, "I'll
appointment
take this
viewing
option."
with stuff. But
Then you could say that about Kobe. You could say about Michael Jordan. You could say that all the
I
same
think
shit.
Taylor's bigger
Yeah,
than
they're
Kobe.
just like
Is Taylor
Taylor's
bigger than
big.
Kobe?
That's what you're saying.
Taylor's bigger than Kobe according to Anand.
No.
I think Taylor's bigger than Kobe.
No, she's
Oh, yeah, that's what exactly. Yeah, let's see.
Not in LA.
Wokey.
Not in
Let's
LA.
see the Wokey.
not in LA.
In LA, sure, yeah.
I
SoFi is way bigger than the Forum or crypto.
Oh,
you.
No,
Kobe's not better.
Kobe came out to her and handed her the thing. Kobe anointed her.
Yeah.
She didn't come out to him. She didn't come out to him.
I'm a big Kobe and Taylor fan, so we can let them be a tie.
Taylor's the biggest.
All right.
Taylor's the biggest star in the world, and D's mad.
I'm not mad. I'm
You're
happy.
definitely mad.
I'm happy that she's dating a football player. It's great. Even Taylor Swift has a date a football player.
Fair.
Yeah. The football players always win.
Yes, that's the pure grunt brute force guy gets the girl
6'5", super handsome rich guy.
Yeah, it's good to see the like manly men winning. You know. I feel like the artsy guys have been winning for some time.
Timothy Chalamet is with Kylie.
Totally. Yeah. It's time to
bring
let
it back.
This is good.
Yeah, for sure. I feel terrible for Brady and all these guys.
Yeah,
they never get girls.
They drew the short straw in life.
It's been rough for them.
Mahomes, maybe he missed there. I don't know. See.
He missed. He
Look
picked
at
too early.
Get canceled.
He picked too early. I think everyone universally hates them, right?
Yeah, his brother, his family.
Seems tough.
I thought that was a universal.
As a football fan,
her screaming in the box doesn't have the same ring to it as Taylor.
Ring on someone. Yeah, it was not good.
All right, let's do some shout outs.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Taylor Swift.
Anand, big shout out to Taylor Swift, bigger than Kobe.
Nope, that's Greg said that. I did not say that. I did not say that.
I touched a nerve.
No, you don't fuck with Kobe with me.
Then Michael Jackson's way bigger than both still.
You don't have an 820. If you have a Michael Jackson tattoo on you, you can say that.
They got you, Anand. They baited you and they got you.
Was it a wedding song, Michael Jackson?
Shut up. Wedding songs.
Exactly. Man in the Mirror.
That was the last song.
It wasn't Taylor.
It was in your wedding, though.
Okay, what do we got?
From Ron, big birthday shout out to my Aunt Josephine. Birthday is September 23rd. She's turning 73.
Wow. Let's ask her who's bigger, Taylor or Michael Jackson. She has a very vivid memory of both.
I mean, Josephine, let us know.
Yep.
I know what she thinks. I can see the
We've been listening since 2018. She loves your laugh, but she has views like Anand. Man, I didn't know 73-year-olds are so woke.
Yeah. Wow.
73. Let's go, Taylor and Kobe.
She'd be sleepy by now.
Yeah.
Still wide awake.
Happy birthday. 73 years young. Next, shout out to my husband, Frank Davenport, who just had the same nose surgery as Anand last week. Also by an Indian doctor.
Nice.
Shout out to Ashish Wadwa in San Diego. Life-changing. He can breathe. We listen in the car together. We love the podcast. Thank you for always providing us with great content.
Shout out to the nose jobs.
Yeah, big nose job community. Kathy's, how many? DM us if you got a nose job.
We stand with Anand.
from Donnie Joshi. Yo, big Kathy from the UK here. Donnie at Big Deal Films.
Nice.
Please tell the Kathys to watch my new TV comedy drama, Dreaming Whilst Black. You can stream it on Paramount Plus or with Showtime. Watch it Sunday, 10 p.m. on Showtime. Wow.
Congrats.
Kathy's doing big things.
Big Deal Films. That.
I like it. Next, from Pat Dunning to Anthony, his best friend. Wanted to shout out my best friend, Anthony. His 30th birthday is on Monday, the 25th. Been best friends since we were
He wrote a book.
10.
He wrote a book.
Got to give credit to him for introducing me to the pod 4 years ago and have been hooked ever
since. A long one.
Love tuning in every week and never knowing exactly what to expect. You guys have found a way to make a delivering news and insight on life and entertaining. To Anthony, lucky to have you in my life, brother, and can't wait for your wedding in Palm Springs in March. An Ohio boy getting married out in California. Love you, buddy. I could see that happen for you.
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I would hope so.
If you were to get married, you would get in Palm Springs.
Oh.
Interesting. That's nice.
If I were to get married, I'd probably go to Cabo.
Nice. Yeah. Also good.
With like 10, people, like the close circle.
4
people you love.
Yeah. 10 people?
Yeah.
Maybe 4.
I mean, I guess my family plus 10.
Costa Palmas.
Yeah.
All right, next is from Mark Sperling, our good friend Mark, to Jean Marie, his wife. Can I get a shout out to my wife, Jean Marie, for our 5th anniversary on 9/29. She always wants me to play D's Good Morning every day on our Sonos. Oh. Wow. Hot song. Also, she's still mad at Drummer for leaving his stuff in our car at Hall of Flowers. He knows what the stuff is.
Oh, that's funny. Must have been drugs. Because Hall of Flowers is a marijuana convention. Not that I just carry drugs around.
There's a last shout out from Josh to Kyle, but it doesn't say anything.
Yep, that's from me. I want to give a shout out to my boy Kyle. He just opened up his first tattoo shop. He's been grinding and putting in a whole lot of work, and it's finally releasing now.
Where is it?
It's on Westward, Oxford Circle. They do permanent makeup and tattoos. And
in what country is that?
Oh, LA.
Okay.
What kind of tattoos did you do?
Anand loves tattoos. He's looking for a Swift.
I'll get
He's looking for a Taylor Swift.
MJ crossed out.
Yeah,
Swift.
I'm getting a new one. I'm in. Let's go.
How's your guy?
Let's go to field trip. Go support him.
Get MJ cross out Swift, cross out Kobe.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
That'd be perfect. Could you say where again? I feel like maybe
it's on Westward Boulevard in Los Angeles.
Westward Boulevard?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know where that is.
Yeah, can you give us
I grew up here.
We just had a whole episode about
like
what?
5-10 minutes from here.
Okay. Westward Boulevard.
Westward Boulevard. I think it's a fake street. It's Westwood.
Westwood.
Okay.
Which I have heard of and driven on 1,000 times.
Westward Boulevard does not exist.
Westwood Boulevard.
just had like a very LA episode and
What's the name of the place?
Oxford Circle.
That's the name of the shop?
Yep.
Oxford Circle. Cool.
There we go.
What kind of tattoos do you do? Single
He's
needle?
British.
What's he
He's
doing?
British, huh?
No, he's actually from Philly. So
Is there an Oxford Circle in Philly?
Oxford Circle. I was just like very British.
I immediately
neighborhood
thought
you
of
grew
like
up in. It's
Piccadilly
called
Circus or
Oxford
something.
Circle.
I was in the same.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Anand wants to give a shout out to Taylor Swift.
Yep. For being the biggest thing
Greatest
since
person who's ever lived.
even before MJ.
No, he's not giving that credit to her.
He
Below
bailed. He
Kobe.
bailed. Yeah.
What do you mean?
You guys got him. You were committed to she's bigger than
Michael Jackson.
but then when they
I
pulled the
said she's
Kobe
the
card,
biggest since.
But then you
I
talked
said
about
this
Kobe.
in 3 episodes. You guys are so fucking stupid.
but are you saying that? Are you saying
Like,
that?
Then that means Kobe Bryant is bigger than Taylor. So then it's Michael, Kobe, then Taylor.
Kobe's the biggest in LA.
In LA?
In LA, there's no one bigger than Kobe.
Yep.
Not Michael
Yeah,
Jackson.
right,
Taylor
that's fair.
globally is bigger.
But even in Kobe's,
Well, Mike Piazza.
but no. Okay, let me just ask you this:
He had a good run.
in Kobe's prime, or I pick any point in his life, Kobe walks, down the street or
He
into a
can't.
restaurant
You can't.
versus Taylor. Even in LA, Taylor
Yeah.
has a bigger.
No, not in LA. In LA, no.
I don't know.
I'll stand on that.
I love you. I disagree 100%.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You have, again, 2 dynamics of male and female. So all the females in LA are going to be like, yeah, I like Kobe. He's great. 100% of them are going to lose their minds for Taylor. And then tons and tons and tons of guys are going to lose their minds for Taylor. So
Like we were at a party one time
Taylor's
where
so famous.
Kobe was there, and it was cool. It was crazy. It was like, damn, Kobe's there,
Yeah.
but no one was like waiting outside for him.
There's just a ton of people that don't care about Kobe because they just aren't basketball fans. But like everybody
But I think
understands
that
how
Kobe
important
myth
music
has
is.
actually escalated post.
Sure.
It certainly,
Posthumously.
definitely, he is
That's
a
for
mythical
sure.
character. No
That's
doubt
for
about
sure.
it.
Yeah.
Wait till you
But
see
you're
my
not
guy
gonna-
Michael Jackson.
But these are all subjective.
He also became
You
a
drop
mythical
a
character.
fucking beat it beat. See what happens at a party.
These are all subjective conversations.
These
And
are definitely
It's
fun
not.
podcast
This is objective.
conversations.
Taylor's the
Yeah.
biggest.
No, I think we're
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
we're getting an answer.
Okay. Are we done?
Yes.
done.
We're done. We're out of here. Everyone
Peace.
have a great week.